Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Back with Mick and Lingy in just a moment to preview tonight's game. It is Essendon and Adelaide. Plus, we'll bring you up to date with the latest with the global IT outage that has caused havoc across the country and around the world today.
Looking for an easy way to find out what's happening in the world of sport? Stay up to date with the week's best sports stories, highlights and analysis with the ABC Sport newsletter.
Oh, that is amazing!
It's sports content to make you think or allow you not to. Delivered to your inbox every Saturday.
Game, set, bingo!
To sign up and get the latest sports news each week, head to abc.net.au/connect, scroll down and select ABC Sport. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
The last time these two teams met was round 6 at Adelaide Oval. It was dripping in controversy at the back end when we had laydown Sammy, Big Draper on top of the Sharon at the end of the game. And in the end, the umpire held his whistle and the Bombers hung on to win by 3 points. They come in tonight having dropped 2 of their recent best and fairest winners. There's no Wright, there's no Heppel. Both of them omitted from the Essendon team. No late change for the Dons with Archie Perkins, their sub. Meanwhile, for Adelaide, if they are to win tonight and try and revive their season, or at least try and get something out of it on the back end of what is turning into a lost year, they will have to do it without arguably their best player, Isaac Rankin, who's missing through suspension, and their all-time champion goal kicker, Taylor Walker, who has been managed back home. Braden Cook is the sub for the Crows. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. It's great to have you with us. Corbin Middlemass, Kelly Underwood, the coaching icon Mick Malthouse, the legendary cat Cameron Ling, and Tim Hodges, as always, for Friday night footy. Now, the global IT outage, which affected institutions in Australia and internationally today, reportedly caused due to a technical issue related to US-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. It caused multiple Microsoft laptops across Australia and abroad to glitch on Friday afternoon. Now, the latest news on this front is that the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, says that he understands the concern caused by this afternoon's global technical outage. Albanese says his government is working with the National Cyber Security Coordinator to understand and to respond to the issue. Australia's largest retailers, banks and airlines are currently meeting with the government as part of the national response. For more information, we'll keep you updated throughout the night, or you can simply head to our website, abc.net.au. But affected multiple institutions this afternoon, including our own in the ABC. When we arrived at the ground tonight, we weren't 100% confident that we would get a game of footy tonight, given the ticketing and everything else that is involved to get people into an event like this and to make sure that the television broadcast in particular is up and running. But Laura Kane, the EGM of footy at the AFL, assured us a short time ago that the game was always going ahead, and so it is, with both the Crows and the Bombers warming up at present. Let's get into tonight. As I mentioned, no late change. Perkins and Cook, the respective subs. For the Bombers, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling, it's a pretty big night for them. They've fallen out of the top 4 for the first time in 9 weeks. They've got to go about trying to get their spot back tonight.
A huge night for the Bombers. They were disappointing last week. They had a chance against Melbourne, but when the rain came and it got a little bit hard and the contest was there, they weren't up for it, Mick, the Bombers.
Did you watch that game last week?
I was there, down at the boundary, and Melbourne, sometimes footy's pretty simple. Wanted it more around the contest. They played wet weather footy. Jack Viney and those types of players just gritted the teeth and said, my ball.
Okay.
Essendon players wanted to live a little bit more on the outside, play a bit of dry weather footy, and they came up short.
Now, you don't drop a player after one game, but on last week's evidence and what you've seen of Peter Wright in the last few weeks, droppable?
It's rough following from last week because it was pretty hard conditions, and I've got to say the ball use going forward by Essendon was deplorable. So not all on him, but he's certainly not covering the ground.
Did he ruck? He must have rucked at some stage.
Little bits.
Okay.
He. The way I think he built his game and really started elevating himself was movement up, work hard to the wing, but then get back deep. That work rate was there, and he was working opponents over and then using his size. I haven't seen many signs of that over the last few weeks.
Yeah. I made the comment that I don't reckon I've seen it since that report.
There's a bit of just stand and prop and hope that being 2 metres tall, he'll mark the footy.
Yeah.
But you got to have more tricks to that. The one player that was reasonably well held last week by Alex Neil-Bullen, he's still got a bit of the footy, but Neil-Bullen blunted his influence with Zach Merritt.
Well, that'll have to happen tonight, surely.
Yeah, so Zach Merritt, got a little stat here from Sir Swamp Thing, who's all onto it with the stats. Most AFL coaches' votes polled in a 5-game span versus one opponent. So 2019 to 2024, Zach Merritt against Adelaide, 46 coaches' votes in those
because they don't
5-game
tag.
span.
Well,
maybe, just let him go.
No,
Adelaide just don't tend to tag.
Yeah, well, see, Kel, this is where there's a growth in coaches, right? To grow as a coach, I remember, and I can say this now because it's a while ago, I rang Matthew Nicks after he lost half a dozen or more in a row and said, don't worry, mate, we've all been through it. It's just a matter of if you've got your principles, stick to them. But there comes a time when you've got to look at why sides beat you and go, right, what do we do? How are we going to change this up? See, to me, both players that feature most in the stats here are the captains.
Yep.
Merritt and Dawson.
Correct.
Now, if I was either coach on either side, I would be putting a nail on top of one of those blokes and try to put them into the ground as quick as and as long as you possibly can to keep them from running or getting onto the next ball, or maybe, they might get their 25 possessions, but they're going to be under constant pressure. So,
and it feels like Sam Durham could do that to Dawson.
That's where that'll be one. Now, if Adelaide do it the other way,
that's the big question.
Now, if Matthew Nicks, I mean, he's in a precarious position. He's got to start to win. Like Corby said about the games they got coming up, or you said before the games coming up. I mean, they are. That could put him into a spiral that he doesn't want and Adelaide don't want. So you've got to start to. You can only take the game in front of you. This is a game. Merritt is such an important player to them. Align someone to him. Try it. See if someone from obscurity can come who's got a good running background and has got a good concentration background. He might be the best player. Whack him on him. Try something.
And if you could blunt Zach Merritt, then you can let your other players go to work around that. And Dawson can hopefully have a good night. Rochelle can have a good night. Saligo. And then Phil Thorpe's going to play a full game, which is fantastic because he looked very good last week and we're obviously all pretty excited about him. So maybe he gets off the chain just a little bit and you've got yourself an opportunity there.
Yeah.
But if Zach Merritt has 35 touches, kicks 2 goals and sets up another 4...
Which he could do, he's not been touched.
Yeah, brilliant decision-making, brilliant ball use. Well, it's game over. Bombers get back to the team that was sitting inside the top 4.
And just to add on there, the fact that they've gone with 2 ruckmen is very interesting as well. I find that pretty astounding. I'm looking at that as saying, if Wright's not the answer, I cannot possibly see Goldstein and Draper kicking 3 or 4 goals. Maybe you go with 1 ruckman and you go with another maybe ruckman, which most clubs do, and you have another running player or a medium-sized player that can actually play forward.
Bombers won the hit-outs by 16 last week, lost the clearances by 12, and that was a bit of a trend across the comp. We saw
it was.
Collingwood and Port Adelaide won hit-outs by big margins and lost clearance by almost as wide.
It's where you get. You know that, Lingy, better than most. It's not a matter of... Unless that's a dominant ruckman who's got a good play with, right, this one's coming outside, we're going to run outside, or this one's going to come inside. Yeah. So it's an interesting
How'd you chat
point.
with Matthew Nicks go? Was it all right?
This is going back a couple... Think about when he lost 8 or 9 in a row. Oh, he was much appreciated.
Was this a couple of years ago or this year?
No, a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yep.
5th season he's staring at, finishing without finals. So big final few weeks for them too.
And 11 wins, 33 losses in his road games. So 1 in every 4 they win away from home. It has been an issue for them. No late change coming in. Tim Hodges is with us on the boundary under the roof at Docklands tonight. That'll help Hodgie in the middle of winter.
Absolutely. Right as you come to me, Corbin, they're about to... the air horns going off in the background. Jordan Dawson won the toss. The Crows will kick to the river end. That's the right of screen if you're at home watching the telly, listening to us. As you said, thank goodness for the roof. Torrential rain is due in the next 20 minutes. It's purple on the radar, so this would have been a very different game if we were across town at the MCG. A low of just 7 degrees forecast for this evening. Despite the chilly conditions, the Microsoft chaos, the ticketing issues, the roadworks that seemingly everywhere around this stadium, Essendon still hoping for between 38 to 40,000 I don't think we're there yet, but we're not far away. Still plenty of people coming in through the turnstiles. Just repeating, no late changes. The subs for the Bombers, it's Archie Perkins. For the Crows, it's Braden Cook. Good calling. Hope this is a great game, guys.
Thanks, Hodgie. The Bombers have won their last 7 against the Crows. Who wins tonight? Lingy Mick?
I'm on the Bombers. I think they've got to bounce.
Well, look, I'm going to just lean against Lingy for no apparent reason. In fact, you know what? I'm going to change back again because Kel Barry's here.
You should have seen it.
Go Bombers.
Text messages light up, Mick.
No,
According to everyone out there, you owe me a big apology.
No, I'll stick with you, Kel. We'll go for the Crows.
Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The Bombers trying to get their place back in the top 4 and the Crows trying to get something out of the year. On ABC Sport, you're with Kelly Underwood.
And the bounce is perfect. Draper down to Stringer. So it was Dawson that started alongside Stringer. He couldn't do anything effective with it. Merrick comes in, gets a little one to Martin, and his first effective kick of the game has been marked by Menzies. So Jai Menzies inside the centre square, goes inside 50 for the first time. Langford sets himself, comes down to Caddy. He's tackled, standing up in the tackle, tackled by Saligo, 25 metres out from the Bombers' goal.
Essendon a home game, so of course all in black with the red sash and the black shorts as Draper wins the hit out forward, 50 stoppage, Menzies out after it, tackled, dispossessed and then ushered through by Dawson for a rush behind. The Crows wearing their sort of throwback jumper from the old Ansett Cup days. It's got the big crow on it, red in the bottom right-hand corner and then a splash of yellow with the white shorts. That's a dangerous kick out. Turnover picked up by Martin. Knocks it back inside 50 for the Bombers. Keane slips over. Most inopportune moment. Don scoop it up again. Gresham to Durham. Hand pass out in front of Caldwell. Little toe poke away from him. Nice work back in defence from Keane. Lays it off to Saligo. Kicks out to half back. Just marked by Langford inside the boundary line.
And he's going to centre the kick. Taking it on the bounce here is Redmond. Tries to get around Keys. Goes left and then goes right. Drives it long. Penetrating kick. Unable to take what's Keane. Waiting at the back is Jones. And Jones, who started on the wing, is able to snap it, bury it from that right forward pocket for the first goal of the night. 1-1-7 Essendon. Crows yet to score.
Well, it might be 1-1-7, but Adelaide are thrashing him for falling over. They've slid over 4 times.
Yep. The kick out from full back, someone slipped over and couldn't take the mark.
And on the return, player just fell over, fall over in the forward pocket, and another one there. Well, check your boots, one, but the hesitancy of Adelaide, it started in the centre bounce where this winger on this side, which is Murphy, was so hesitant to go and attack the football, he held back. Essendon were able to clear it. There's doubt in their mind, Adelaide.
Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Corbin Middlemass, Kelly Underwood, Tim Hodges, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling. Back in the middle, the ruck share it down. Spills away of Dawson. Hand pass to Ledge.
Yes.
Guelphy comes in off the square. Dispossesses Smith, who then the footy comes back to him as he tries to catch his wind again after being knocked off his feet. Picked up by Durham. Gives to Draper. Kicks inside 50 and Langford takes the mark at centre half forward. But Matt Guelphy looks like he's straight out of a boy band, but throws his weight around and lays a big hit.
Well, there's we should report him.
No,
he's a bump.
He's coming towards Hodgie at the moment. Ribs, bang, just off the line, blindsided.
That is a fantastic bump.
Yep.
That's what we want. More.
No head contact at all. Beautiful, solid bump. Love it, Cal.
Jeez, a bit sore. We'll get an update from Hodgie after this kick from Cole Langford. This would be the perfect start for the Bombers. We're 3 minutes in for their third score. The drop punt fades to the left. It's a behind. 1-2 yet to score the Crows. Bombers by 8 points. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Interesting with Brodie Smith. One doctor's pointed to the race to take him straight down to the rooms. Brodie Smith said, no, I'm not having any of that. I'm going straight to the bench to have a sit, to get my wind back, to my air back, and then I'm going back on the ground. So I think he's fine, but, gee, that was some sort of bump.
Well, Timmy, the thing is we say some sort of bump. Yesteryear, when the football was played with men, there was, you'd have 6 or 7 of those already. But we've just now got to be very careful, don't we?
Yeah. Well, if you're going to choose to bump, you've got to execute it perfectly. And it looks like on the replay there it was done perfectly. So the Crows on the kick-in went out of bounds. Now the boundary throw-in at half forward. The Bombers are in possession. And the kick went over Stringer's head. Can the Crows defenders keep it in play? In fact, Keane's happy to walk it over. And just giving him a shove in the chest was Jake Stringer. A bit quiet the last few weeks, goalless last week at the MCG against the Demons.
I'm just watching Hugh Bond is coming up from half forward for the Crows to take the Merritt tag.
O'Brien in front as the boundary throw-in 12s back in, straight down to Laird. Kicks up and under to the broadcast wing, Dockland's wing. Nice little pick up by Himmelberg. Laird's kick, though, was smothered by Ridley, and as a result, it rolls and bounces and trickles over the boundary line, right in front of the Bombers bench.
It's a nice challenge for game number 2.
Is that just for those stoppages, you reckon?
No, he's starting at half forward, Bond, but then
he's coming right up.
Gone straight up to Merritt, taking him at every stoppage. He's going to know he's alive by the end of this game.
O'Brien beats Draper again in the ruck. Murphy couldn't control it, diving and desperate. Durham was good. Popped up, handballs to Draper. Little give to Kelly. Martin, all by hand. This is Essendon. Shield, who's just come on, started on the bench, back to Durham. And we're still right in front of the Bombers bench before Merritt now goes with the all-important kick. Couldn't quite find a target. Umpire says there's a free, and it's going to go Martin's way. The high fly was Nankervis in the marking contest. It was 2 Crows to 1, and Martin wins the free.
Oh, Martin had to go quick then, Nick.
Averaging over 28 touches a game, Nick Martin. He's just going to set this kick up to Harry Jones, and that is superb. Jones offered a little leading lane inside 50, and in the end it was Nick Martin who determined that he was going to lead there, put it out in front of him, and the emerging kick forward for the Bombers runs into the open space.
Beautiful kick. I was going to be critical of him not going quicker because he had a couple of open options, but once he hadn't gone quick, he then just settled himself, popped it into space, and almost forced the Harry Jones lead. That was a brilliant kick.
What do you get the free call?
I'm not 100% sure, Mick. It was a hold, was what was called.
Right.
Didn't look heaps there.
It's a little alarming for the Crows early. First 5 inside 50s, all for the Bombers. Harry Jones, his first 2 kicks are 2 goals. And Essendon have kicked the opening couple of the night, setting a brisk early pace. The Bombers 2-2-14, Adelaide yet to score. We're 6.5 minutes in. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
Corbin, Brodie Smith, just an update. He has waved the doctors away. They've spent about a minute dealing with him. He looks to be fine after that bump. I just want Lingy to have a look at Josh Rochelle just on the ground for his first run. I noticed his right knee heavily strapped in the warm-up. It then had more strapping on for the start of this match, and then he started the game on the bench and he's had more strapping. I don't think I've seen a right knee have more strapping on it to start a game. So he's out there for his first run in the forward line, and that right knee, it's almost from the shorts all the way down to the sock.
Medial ligament?
Yeah.
I noticed that as well in the warm-up, Hodgie, and you're right, it's new. He didn't have it last week.
He's on Andy McGrath's on him too, who's a brilliant athlete, so if he's affected running-wise, it's going to be hard to get away from him.
Now Goldstein goes at it. O'Brien again, slaps it down. The free kick is going to Dawson. He was held by Durham. Dawson plays on quickly. Keeps it low, looking for Thilthorpe. He got caught underneath it. Rochelle goes without it. A little fumble because of the pressure for Murphy. Flicks out to Rochelle. Can he break a tackle? He tried to handball to Thilthorpe. And then the look-away handball to Murphy on the left. And it's offline, missing to the near side in the left forward pocket for Lockie Murphy. 2-2-14 Essendon. Adelaide inside 50 for the first time at the 7.5 minute mark for just 1 behind.
Ridley brings it in a hurry to Shield, so the Bombers omitting both Heppel and Wright, recent best and fairest winners, as Shield goes to centre-half back, and that was a little sloppy. Dawson bowls over Mackay after he takes the mark, and now Mackay will be marched up over halfway. Short kick to Durham, who's got it front edge of the centre square. Essendon going inside 50 again. They've kicked the first 2. Kick out to half the forward pocket, and here's Nick Cox reaching away from the body and takes the mark. He'll have a look from about 25 metres out.
Yeah, good movement. Really good movement by the Bombers. Smart play. Who got the 50 back there?
Mackay.
Mackay. Smart play not using it because he had a player already forward.
It was really clever, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Nick Cox, Harry Jones, the 2 young, tall, exciting players. They've found beautiful space in the forward line to start this game, but the Crows would not love the edits of their defensive efforts so far.
Bombers been second last for scores per inside 50 in recent weeks. They are efficient tonight. Nick Cox knocks another one through. Puts his ear out to hear the Essendon Army cheer. And they are roaring early inside Docklands. 3-2-20, Adelaide 1 behind. We've travelled 9 minutes in the opening term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Just updating you, the Prime Minister says he understands the concern caused by this afternoon's global technical outage. Anthony Albanese says his government is working with the National Cybersecurity Coordinator to understand and to respond to the issue. Australia's largest retailers, banks and airlines are currently meeting with the government as part of a national response. For more information, abc.net.au. The Bombers here by 20 points after 9 minutes.
I love Nick Cox. He's a right footer, but he takes set shot goal kicking on his left foot. It's remarkable.
It's weird, isn't it? But he feels comfortable.
Brilliant.
Bring the ball back across. That's Buddy Franklin style, isn't it? Across the body that way.
You've coached a lot of players. Have you ever
No.
noticed that?
Oh, I've seen players have left and right side, but they go like there. That would have been a natural right foot.
Back underway in the centre, Brodie Smith on straight back in the back. The Crows' back line is under siege, but they're going to win it out of the centre here. And it's Keys that goes looking for Himmelberg in a one-on-one with Ridley. It bobbles around, and then Rochelle burst clear before pouncing on his back was McGrath.
Why is that holding the ball?
And it was holding the ball in the end.
Why?
So McGrath is going to win the free kick in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Why? There's zero prior opportunity. He was tackled immediately. Why is that holding the ball?
Here's the pass to Shield.
Well, that's the question that Laura might answer. Or maybe Kel.
I'm just going to ignore that.
No, well, we don't know, Lingy. And I reckon it's the only thing is that if we'd been in Adelaide right now, they'd be going nuts. But because we're home game Essendon.
So here's Nick Cox, the last goal kicker. They've kicked 3-0. Essendon went only as far as the captain for Adelaide in Dawson. Out towards Himmelberg. Broke a couple. Handballs back into Murphy. Oh, and that's definitely holding the ball. Umpire it is.
Fine with that
and the Bombers' defence is up and about. Quick couple of handballs and Dersma gets the exiting kick. Draper takes it off to Shield. Bursting through the centre of the ground. In the end, he's caught. He has to come back and give it to Menzies. A high up and under. It's 2-on-1. It's two Adelaide defenders, and out of position was Goldstein. And Curvis was able to take a uncontested mark to Scholl, to Butts, and they get it out of the D50 to the Crows.
Works it up to Hinge, who's the only inclusion from the side that beats St Kilda. Comes in for Taylor Walker, who's outmanaged. Goes with a short kick down that outer wing to Taylor. Youngster in his fourth game, in fact in his third year on the list, but broke through for his first AFL start a couple of weeks ago. Back to Scholl, boundary line city side, long kick to half forward, and here's Thilthorpe. Wins a one-on-one, kicks inside the forward pocket, and that's a dart to Saligo. But Riley Thilthorpe, didn't he excite Lingy when he came on in the final quarter last week? 7 disposals and a couple of goals, and there's an early contested grab for him. Yeah, and Ben Mackay had the great position on him, and Thilthorpe just worked him under, took the mark, and then the skill to wheel and go and just go bang and find the teammate. I'm seeing him on the screen now, close up. He's put on some kilos with the injury. Saligo snaps across the body, hit it a little skinny, misses near side. 3-2 to 2 behinds. It's Essendon by 3 goals after a dozen minutes. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Concern for the Crows, Corbin. Nick Murray came off the ground, spoke to the doctor, pointed to his knee, and they've taken him straight down to the room. So the Crows a man down on the bench at the moment.
Redmond goes short to Laverty.
It's amazing what a couple of pre-seasons and maybe a little injury break can do to a player's build. Thilthorpe just massive through the shoulders. He put that real muscle on.
First number 1 pick, or he was
number 2, wasn't
number
he?
2, was he?
Yep. That's a 2 in 2020.
That's a big choice to pick a player like that. And now, hopefully, we see the rewards.
Essendon work it up to the dockside wing. It's stolen by Berry. He breaks the tackle of Caldwell, wheels around on the left. So nice passage of play, looking for Fogarty, who slipped through his fingers. Trying to keep it in play was Keys, does well. Fogarty off to Rochelle for the finish. And that's brilliant team play from the Adelaide Crows. Their first goal of the night comes at the 13-minute mark of the opening term. 1-2-8, they trail the Bombers by 12, 3-2-20.
Yeah, good call, Kel. That really was good play. Fantastic play in one in getting the ball from the centre into the forward line. Forward line then was 1-on-1. So a back line player, if you're going to win that, you just punch the ball clear. No matter what happened then, the Adelaide players were able to beat their opponents directly 1-on-1, and then fell in line where it became a 3v2. Just a matter of making sure to finish off, and it was a very good finish.
And just to answer your question, Mick, it was pick 2. Jamari Ugle-Hagan was pick 1 that year, which Adelaide bid on, and then the Dogs, through because of their NGA access, matched that bid, and then Thilthorpe fell to 2.
Right, okay, so 2 key forwards.
2 key forwards. In fact, Logan McDonald went at pick 4 as well. So
yep.
the draft of key forwards.
Crows' first goal, Bombers by 12 points. Back in the middle, Goldstein wins it down. Himmelberg, though, first clean touch to Berry for the Crows. Handball away. Kick comes inside 50 from Taylor. Leaping from the back, Fogarty knocks it down, but straight to Laverty, his direct opponent. Hand pass to Dersma for the Bombers. Handball to Kelly against his old team. Short kick broken up by Smith. Punches it back to the 50. Shield stands up in the tackle and shakes it. Handball out to Caldwell. Bombers back on it at half-back. Kicks down the wing, dockside. Nankervis arrived for the Slate. Spoils down to Laird. He's tackled. Ball comes out. Scrap on for the footy. Guelphy goes and wins it for Essendon.
Good hands out to Merritt, and the hands were even better. Caddy goes the banana. Tough one to take in the air, and as soon as it hits ground level, Cox goes after it. Charging in, and well done was the youngster for the Adelaide Crows in Dowling, who worked it ways to his teammate. And then the kick was even better to Philthorpe on the dock side of the wing. The Crows want to go quickly.
Out in front of Rochelle. Out in front of him, tries to paddle it to his own advantage. Spun around by Shield. Got a kick away. Says all okay. Close to the boundary line. Keys scrapping for it, as is Menzies. Umpire says, I'll have it.
Kick off the half-back line. Wasn't an absolute cracker.
Corbin, Middlemass, Kelly, Underwood, Tim Hodges on the boundary. Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Essendon by 12 as Goldstein wins it down to Caldwell. He's locked up immediately, and another ball up. And a little good old-fashioned shirt front, a big hip and shoulder earlier from Guelphy on Brodie Smith. Smith a little stint on the bench, but he's A-OK and back out there.
Goldstein palms it down beautifully to Cox, but his kick was a little bit of a wobbler. Stringer gets involved, loops it up. Trying to break the tackle was Taylor, the young gun for the Crows. Squirts out the side, and Laird happy to see it over. And it's Caldwell that shoves Laird into the back, and he cannons into the advertising boarding there, and now the bit of push and shove between the two players. It'll be a boundary throw in, dockside wing.
That last hit out is why you play Goldstein sometimes. That was a superb two-advantage hit out. It's whether or not he can do it for the whole game.
Tries to get it down to Caldwell, but a couple of Crows wrap him up. So Essendon by 12 points.
Well, you reckon that they're squared off one-on-ones now. Adelaide have just done a bit better in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Get back in the game.
Yep.
17 minutes in, and again the ball bumbles around and goes over the boundary line. So we'll reset.
Just the Bombers were so dominant one-on-one early. Just found space.
Himmelberg in the ruck with Goldstein.
They'll get on the fly. While Himmelberg's in the ruck, and Goldstein.
He gets in front, the older player, and he palms it beautifully straight down to the captain in Merritt to shield by hand. Caldwell, they're going back. Now Laverty. He goes the driving kick. Oh, rising up the top was Caddy. He had the run, he had the sit up over the top of the pack. And the shock of blonde hair, the fans enjoyed that one. He took the mark on the wing, he moves it quickly to Shield, who's tackled to the turf, and a bit of an anticlimactic finish there.
He looks like a natural forward, doesn't he, Mick? He's got the movement, he's got the hang.
Yeah. The hang, wasn't it?
Timing, everything.
Is he a natural blonde, or is he just, that's for... Is he?
Of the Brownlow votes.
Why are you looking at me?
No, I thought you might know, Kelly. You seem to know.
The Crows off the back flank, working hurriedly down the city wing. Picked up by Mackay, the Bombers. Hand pass turnover. Straight to Rochelle of the Crows. Hand pass comes back inboard to Laird. Kicks the Crows inside 50. Little nudge there. Murphy knocked away from it by Martin. Loose ball, top of the goal square. Philthorpe trying to trap it. He can't. And in the end, Redmond sees it through. And a rush behind. So Essendon by 11 points. Crows are settled. 18 minutes into the opening term. The Bombers 3-2. Adelaide 1-3. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Essendon go quick. Redmond spears the pass. It was a bullet-like, and Langford marks it at half-back. Sheron spinning in his hands. So he can go Laverty sideways and short. He ignores that.
They're going one-on-one everywhere here at the moment, the Crows.
And now he goes out to the wing, and again launching himself. There was Caddy. That was an awkward fall. Very similar to the mark he took previously. And now a clever slap on by the young gun. Shield tried to fire the handball to Stringer, but they weren't on the same page, and it's been stolen by the Crows. Short, sharp pass, and Laird tries to set something up here for the Crows at half-back.
Too slow. He had multiple opportunities to play on Laird.
So he goes short instead to Saligo, closer to the boundary line.
Mind you, the middle of the ground is just chock full of players.
It is. Defensive side of the broadcast wing, the dockside wing, out in front, Fogarty marks in front of Kelly. Still a couple of kicks away from home. Saligo calls for it. Oh, no, he's surrounded by 4 Bombers. Gets the handball away, Shoal. They've got themselves in a pickle. Berry now accepts the handball, spears the pass in. He's tried to be swatted down there by Mackay, and then he goes and gets it and gives it to Laverty, to Ridley, who's bouncing in the defensive goal square and then hitting up Gresham. And here goes Essendon.
Kicks out of the defensive 50 to Guelphy. Threw his weight around earlier in a safe manner, according to our experts. Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling. Kicks the Bombers up into the front half. Cox gets a kind bounce. Keeps it alive for Essendon. No, he doesn't. Out of play, says the boundary umpire. And a throw in between wing and half forward for the Dons.
Adelaide are playing looks like a genuine one-on-one. There's not a lot of team defence and formation type play. It is a bit of borderline old school one-on-one.
Yeah, it really does appear that.
It feels like this crowd has been impacted a little bit too. We spoke about the global IT outage earlier today. There's a fair bit of space in it, which you're ordinarily not used to for an Essendon home game. And Friday night footy as the ball's back out of play here from that boundary throw-in after a Berry hand pass went awry.
Just saying, when you say one-on-one league, Essendon have got the +1 and Adelaide have got theirs at the stoppage, but when it go into general play, they very much are, even kickoffs one-on-one. There's no guarding grass.
Essendon by 11 points, boundary throw-in on the City side, and again here go the Bombers. Quick hands, Gresham to McGrath, stabs the pass, but butts playing in front of Langford takes the defensive mark.
Very good mark too, strong mark. Langford's a...
Short to Dowling, and then goes wider still to Hinge. Nice pick up there from Fogarty, and he wheels around with intent. He's looking for Himmelberg, out of position. Mackay's there, so to Laverty. Mackay gets to the Sherrin first, just tries to flick it to Kelly, and then Kelly with those defensive smarts able to flick it over the boundary line. So 25 metres round, a boundary throw in here for the Adelaide Crows. Essendon kicked the first 3. The Crows with the last, and the Bombers lead it by 11 points with 6 minutes to play in the first term.
Perkins and Cook, the 2 subs, no late change coming in. Forward 50 stoppage for the Crows. O'Brien palms it down. Here's Rochelle for Adelaide. Tackled by Kelly, coughs it up. Hand pass from Langford, or by Langford, out wide towards McGrath, high up and under. Punched by Dowling over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in here, 55 around from the Crows' goal.
Ben Mackay's the loose here for the Bombers. He's not exactly sure
what to do. No.
Yeah, he might come back up and take Himmelberg now, but he's been standing there a lot gesturing to his teammates. Where do you want me? What am I supposed to do?
I reckon Laverty's got him.
Laverty's going to take him too, so Mackay is the spare.
Nick Murray downstairs having a prolonged chat with the Docs. We'll get Archie to keep an eye on that as Gresham got a hand pass back into dispute. Durham clever, paddles it back to the corridor into his own advantage. Bursts away, runs, carries, sweeping hand pass to Draper. Centre half forward for the Dons. High kick to the top of the goal square, and then Curvis in the box seat and takes the saving mark.
Someone's got to tell Sammy Draper, give the ball. Don't try and do it yourself. You have 3 runners flying past him.
Swings the kick to Max Michaelani, and he pokes his pass up to Dawson. The lefty comes inboard. Short kick to Berry. Kick the winner. The last and only time that Crows have played here this year against the Blues. That kick inboard is no good, and Martin steps in to take the intercept mark for Essendon. Swings his kick wide to Dersma.
Dersma's outnumbered on the broadcast wing. Crows haven't taken it clearly. Murphy's been taken high. The umpire does see it.
Well, they've got back in the game, Adelaide, because they're winning a fair amount of their contested football against Essendon. Essendon wasted the last 3 entrances by virtually kicking it straight back to Adelaide players. They're positioning themselves very well, Adelaide, but I don't know whether Essendon have gone to sleep or Adelaide have started to get a bit more of the football.
Essendon's ball use going forward has been atrocious for the last 5 minutes.
So Murphy kicks it short to Smith. Smith kicks it long. Phil Thorpe was involved right on the 50. He had no other teammates to help him, and now those in the red and black sash are able to clear it out of the defensive 50. That's a piercing pass. It was a dart from the blue boot of McGrath, hitting up Durham. On the edge, the back of that centre square. He kicks it to centre half forward, and Hinge, as Stringer was in a one-on-one wrestle with Nankervis, Hinge comes through and takes it. Dowling off to Berry. He's got room to move, and then shorts the kick to Rochelle. It's play on, says the umpire. He gives it to Dawson, who's usually creative. He kicks wider still. to Murphy. Murphy's asking the question. He wants to know where the player on the mark is. He's still outside 50, and then he just stabs the pass to Keane. And Keane's taken an uncontested mark just inside 50. He wants to play on. He missed Thilthorpe. It was too low for the big man and Kelly. Charging late was Keane trying to make amends. And he sort of does because he goes with the spoil on Ridley and means the ball will go over the boundary line for a boundary throw.
I don't think anyone's going to win the goal kicking competition.
Thank you. Can you just comment about how bad the skills are right now?
Both ends, we've been told tonight how great the game is. Depends what glasses you're looking through, I guess, but this has deteriorated to the point where there's a lot of good ball in the middle, and as soon as they get to the 50-metre line, they kick into the opposition or yards in front of their teammate. Nothing is clean at the moment.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Crows. Durham grabs it, kicks in the middle of the ground, lands in the lap of Martin. He knocks it down straight to Murphy. He's tackled.
That's holding the ball.
Handball back in towards Gresham. You happy with that, Lingy?
Yep.
He's locked up in the two-man tackle.
He had a chance to get rid of that. He just wanted to accept the tackle and stop the play. I got no dramas with that one.
So Laird, with his team down by 11 points, sends the Crows back inside 50. Thilthorpe.
Wow.
Great kick, and Thilthorpe bursting up. What a presence he is in that pack. Wraps his mitts around it.
Well, he just looks good. He just looks like one playing with boys. Like he was in that position. The ball was kicked to him. Like he's only played, I don't know, not a lot of games. I know it's only second on this year.
48.
And he's come out against a very, very good key back and made him look second rate. Unbelievably strong. He's got to finish and he's got to play the full game out. But
in the depths of this winter, we're seeing what Riley Thilthorpe did last summer. He pops it through for his first of the night. And in just his second game of the season, he's only 2 quarters in, he's got 3 goals already. Essendon 3-2-20, Adelaide 2-3-15, and all of a sudden the gap in this game closes to 5 points. 26 minutes gone in the opening term. It's the Bombers by 5. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Lane.
For all the bad ball he's going forward for both teams, Essendon have just been giving it back to the Crows. Crows haven't been much better. No. That kick there was 1v3.
Yeah.
And at least I suppose it gave Thilthorpe a chance to jump at it. But he just said, enough's enough. Stop stuffing around with this. I'm going to mark this footy. And he made that his own. Terrific performance. Ben Mackay's going to have to really watch himself. He had a few moments last week, Mackay. He owes his team a few, especially when the Bombers were coming back a little bit. Had some real shaky moments, so he's going to have to stand up against a young gun.
Draper standing up here against O'Brien. O'Brien, little give to Saligo, does well. And then off to the youngster in Taylor, who might have coughed it up here. Durham gets involved. Takes off. Kicks long, driving kick towards Langford in a one-on-one. Couldn't get separation. Smith picks it up. Off to Saligo, who's caught, and umpire says play on. He got rid of it legally. Loose ball, pouncing on an Iscaddy. That's what the cheers were for, to Langford. Now here's Durham. He's handballed straight back to the opposition. Oh, that's Hinge with the fend off on Menzie, and his kick has gone straight into Langford. Langford breaks a tackle, wobbly old kick, unguarded goal square. Menzie is there. Menzie tries to slap it down basketball style and then pouncing on us at Shoal, and he kicks it as long as he can and as far as he can, and it's Durham that picks it up, who takes the mark rather. Uncontested 70 metres out for the Bombers.
Told us a few weeks ago he's still just Seymour Sammy Durham. The chippy from Seymour now making it the big time. Goes back to Ridley. Kicks to the hot spot. Dersma threw his body at it. No mark. Spills down to Hinge. Gives it to Dawson. And again, another easy rebound. 50 for the Crows. Out to Rochelle. Short kick at that city boundary line. Finds Himmelberg. He looks inside. That's a dangerous kick. Almost broken up by Kelly. Spills its way through in the end to Taylor. Feeds a hand pass for the Crows. Back in front of Rochelle. He's beaten to it by Ridley. Just wins the one-on-one. Hands down for the Dons. The 1-2 with Redmond. Ridley gives it back to Redmond. Keeps on running. Caught. Umpire says tackle didn't stick. Says keep going. Hand pass away to Jones. Handball to Stringer. Trying to fend off the would-be tackle from Smith. Hand pass out in front of himself. Stringer's on it again. Now he's out of room. Shoved out of play, right forward pocket. Leather boundary throw in deep forward for the Dons. Gee, this has been a little ugly at times. Oldhouse, Cameron leading Essendon by 5 points.
So there you go. Does he realise he's allowed a hand pass?
I don't know what's going on at the moment, Mick. Is it a full moon tonight?
Well,
It may be on the other side of this roof. And that is quarter time. The Bombers so efficient in the first 10 minutes. They're opening 6 inside 50s. They had 5 scores and led the game by 19 points. And from then on, Adelaide have just worked their way back into it at quarter time. It is Essendon 3-2-20. They lead the Crows 2-3-15. The goal kickers in that opening term. Harry Jones kicked the first 2 of the night. 1 for Nick Cox. Meanwhile, for Adelaide, their goals coming through Rochelle and Thilthorpe. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. We've got an update on Nick Murray. Hodgie.
Well, you can see yourself, guys. He's back from the rooms. I've never seen 2 doctors so confused on what to do with Nick Murray. Look, they just don't know. It's the same knee injury he's had during the year.
Is it his left?
Yeah, the left knee.
Yeah.
So he spent nearly 10 minutes in the room. So for the best part of 15 minutes in that term, they were a man down on the bench. You can see him trying to. He's just running out towards the Essendon goal now, trying to pivot. And I don't think he looks at all good. I wouldn't be surprised if the substitution is made. And if it is made, I'm not sure why they wasted so much time in that first term. So Braden Cook is the Crow sub. You can see on his face, Murray just doesn't look at all comfortable. I will say the other one, guys, if I can just say, Essendon, they have 2 colours in their jumper. They're the home team, black and red. Why would the AFL allow the Crows to wear their alternate strip, which is predominantly one of those colours? It's red. Like, on ground level, you can tell players are getting confused. I'd love to speak after the game to ask a player how difficult it's been in that opening 30 minutes to adjust. I'm sure they've been picking wrong players out. I'm trying to make an excuse for some of the skill errors, perhaps, Lingy, but
maybe it makes sense.
It is just gobsmacking why they would let the Crows wear their all red, especially the back, all red back, when Essendon's colour is red and black.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's a great point, Hodgie. That might be the reason. It could be the fact a lot of people have always accused AFL players of being robots, so maybe the global IT outage is having a little issue with them at the moment. Because the kicking in the second half of that first quarter was appalling. It was just quite shocking.
We'll tell you more about that in a few moments. Braden Cook doing a warm-up at the moment as well. He's got Sharon out there just getting loose as the sub for the Crows. The Bombers by 5 points at quarter time. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The thoughts of Nick and Lingy coming up in 30 seconds.
The ABC Tennis Podcast is your Australian serve of tennis all year round, be it on grass, clay or hard court. Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and former Australian tennis players John Millman and John Alexander as we unpack results and storylines from the Grand Slams and beyond. It's the podcast Australia's Alex Demonor listens to.
No, Alex is a big listener to the ABC Tennis Podcast.
Find the ABC Tennis Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listen app.
look for the AFL button.
Quarter time here at Docklands, Friday night footy on ABC Sport. I was waiting for the highlights to kick in, and of course, given everything that's going on, we're as live as you can be from the ground here at Docklands Stadium, given the global IT outage which has happened today. If I can just get this off my screen here, I can give you the latest on that as well. abc.net.au is the place to go. The global IT outage affecting institutions in Australia and internationally. Technical issue related to the US-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike caused Microsoft laptops across Australia and abroad to glitch on Friday afternoon. Anthony Albanese spoke a short time ago. He said that they are working hard on this matter with the key institutions that they need to across the board. For more information, abc.net.au is the place to find out more information. Plus, we'll bring you a news bulletin coming up at half-time. Go.
Just on Nick Murray, I was having a look. So he ruptured his anterior cruciate ligament in round 18 last year against Melbourne at the MCG. It's pretty much 12 months to the day, actually. If we can go down to Tim Hodges, because Hodgie, he appeared to re-injure it in that first quarter. Have you got good news or bad news for Crows fans?
No, this isn't good news, Cal. So the substitution has just been made. The paperwork has just been put through to the AFL. So, and you can see Nick Murray, he is shattered. He's got his arms behind his back, just away from the main group. Yeah, you feel really sorry for him. So it's that same left knee, and I think they gave him every chance to try and work out what it could be. I don't know, Mick, would you be disappointed that they took... It was over 15 minutes that they were basically debating on whether to take him out of this game, and then they gave him the opening 2 minutes of this quarter-time break to try and prove his fitness. He clearly couldn't, so now he's been subbed out of the game. So Murray is out of the game, and Braden Cook, the Crows sub, comes in. So, just a mess, and he'll have some scans and probably a very nervous night's sleep. Yeah, Timmy, you've got to back the doctors in there and say, look, if they have one doubt that he's re-ruptured or it's loose or whatever, they wouldn't have let him go out and even try it out. So you're suspecting that he...
through, Mick, because you saw Hinge come over,
yeah,
and Lockie Murphy came over, and Phil Thorpe then went to Lockie Murphy. So the word is filtering out through teammates that he's...
redone it?
Well, I don't know if it's that, but it is bad news in regards to his knee, yeah.
Yeah, well, what I'm getting at is very rarely you're going to go out and try it out if you know it's an ACL. So we cross our fingers for any young player like that. I mean, it's bad enough missing 1 year of football, but it may well be that it's grinded away. He may have a bit of a meniscus problem. He may have strained another muscle, and maybe the joint one. He may lack confidence in himself to say, look, I'm not sure. So we'll give the medical people a much better than a doubt, and hopefully the player is okay and just is a little bit doubtful.
What did you make of that quarter, Lingy? Essendon by 5 points.
Pretty lacklustre, Essendon, to be perfectly honest. They had control at times. Their ball use probably just gave the ball back to the Crows, and the Crows got themselves back into the game, and it was Riley Thilthorpe and his presence up forward which was a bit of the difference for me.
Nick Murray subbed out of the game with a left knee injury. Bombers by 5, second term underway. O'Brien down to Durham. He's tackled by Laird. Another ball up. No late change coming in. Archie Perkins the sub for the Bombers. And Braden Cook into the game early. And earlier than the Crows would have hoped from the restart. Here's Taylor. Hand pass away to Dawson. Gives it to Smith. Kicks inside 50, and there's a mark for Keys. He takes it. The man on the mark standing in the last bit of light bursting through from the cap and the roof here at Docklands, and a little kick inside the forward arc, and they've got a big any of the Crows. Mark taken by Dowling. And Billy the Kid has it true centre half forward here. He'll kick from about 48 metres out.
Yeah, good play by Keys. These 50 metres will probably see him out, but that... And I'm terribly surprised that they don't use him more on the ball, Keys. I know he's a little bit untidy at times, but he does win a lot of the football and the hard gut ball.
Billy Dowling skips in, centre half forward. The 20-year-old, his drop punt sails goalward, and for the first time tonight, he puts the Crows in front. Essendon with the first 3 in the game, Adelaide with the last 3. It's the Crows by 1 point. 70 seconds into quarter number 2. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. Hodgie.
Corbin, this is a bit tough to watch. You're just watching Nick Murray. And I think, Lingy, you probably can tell us what it's like on the bench. I reckon he got so emotional with people coming to pat him and hug him that he put the hoodie on, and then he had to put the hood of the hoodie over the top. I think there's some tears flowing. So I reckon he knows there's something bad in that left knee. Josh Rochelle has just spent a lot of time with him, gave him a big bear hug. So I think it's going to impact everyone on the Crows bench right now, but especially when they come to him. And you can see, I'm not sure if the camera's caught that, but he's still got the hood over the top of his head. I think it's sort of almost masking some tears because, it's a tough time right now for Nick Murray from the Crows.
Bounce is perfect in the centre. Draper tried to get it to Stringer. He needs to beat a couple of Crows either side. The ball spills clear. Durham pounces and Durham delivers. What a pickup. He closed to 40 directly in front. And Brad Scott has said recently this kid doesn't know how good he can be. And Sammy from Seymour slots it through, and it's Essendon back in front by 5.
Wow.
Adelaide people just stopped. Adelaide players stopped.
26, 3-3, 21, Mick.
He's been incredible, Sam Durham, so far, Cal. 14 touches and that goal there on the run. He's been the one for the Bombers who's got them going. You're right. I think the Adelaide players thought it was a free kick against Jake Stringer. That's holding the ball.
But you don't stop like that, though. You've got to keep going.
No, he was trying to fight the tackle a little bit. May have got a fraction of a second longer than perhaps expected, but he definitely got a handball out. It was just the length of time it took to get the handball out, and you're right, you can't stop there. Durham gets onto the ball, swoops onto it, Great finish.
Well, you've got two before that ball's gone through, two Adelaide players, hands in the air, saying, where's the free kick? You can't do that.
O'Brien wins a hit out down to Dawson for the Crows. Hand pass to Laird. He kicks wide. Picked up by Murphy. He's tackled. Took on Martin and lost. Free kick for Nick Martin on the wing. And Essendon, after a hot start in the first 2 minutes, they were pretty scrappy in the back end of that opening term, trying to get it going here. Is right on cue. Redmond receives a handball running by, puts it straight out on the full. And there's another poor entry headed inside the attacking arc.
At the moment, I'd just let Sam Durham kick the ball inside forward 50 for you.
Laird off the back flank, goes long for Adelaide. Dawson backing into the pack, can't complete the mark, hits the deck. Murphy extracts it for Adelaide. Hand pass straight to Mackay. His handball dangerous. Back to the outer corridor. Picked up here by Taylor, spun around, got a hand pass to Bond, and the Crows are through.
Bond gives it to Murphy. Murphy, the sweeping handball out wide to Dawson. Dawson, can he deliver to Thilthorpe? Going back with the flight. He goes to ground. Mackay kept his feet. Handballing back to Dersma in the defensive goal square, and now a chance for Nick Cox in the back pocket. He goes long to a one-on-one. It went over the head of both players. It's flicked back now. Chance for Guelphy. In fact, he had to force the tackle. Menzies comes in with the intercept. Handball. Caldwell. All muscle. Just gets rid of his would-be opponent and then blazes away. And taking the mark is the Irishman Keane for the Crows. He's got it on the dockside wing. He goes short. This is Smith. Going to come back through the centre, Adelaide.
To Michael Annie. It takes the mark outer edge of the centre square. Bombers by 5 points. We're 5 minutes into the second term as Michael Annie inside forward 50. Fogarty trying to rip it down, no mark. Falls to Laverty. Hand pass bobbles off Dersma and away to McGrath. He's racing off half-back with 2 bounces. Has runners in support. Gives it to Martin, who fumbles. Keane outnumbered 3-on-1, almost forced a neutral ball. Got it out, Martin to Durham. Sweeping hand pass to Kelly. Kicks inside 50 and Langford marks. Gee, they tried to bottle it, the Bombers on the wing, but they work it out. And as a result, they'll get a shot at goal right half forward.
Don't worry, Sammy will save the day. He was there to mop it up. His work rate is massive. Even with all the mistakes, Durham got across, cleaned it up. The forward handball was the right option. Then a nice, easy kick inside to Langford. And as you've said, Mick, quality player, Kyle Langford, really hard matchup. Good at ground level, excellent in the air and on the lead. And usually a good set-shot goal kicker.
Generally, yeah.
50 goals last year. He's up to 35 and counting. Building his tally with 6 games to go. Cole Langford right on the blue paint for the 50, and that is straight as an arrow. Pops it through. The Dons have kicked 2 on the bounce. And Essendon restore an 11-point buffer. 5-2-32, Adelaide 3-3-21. The Bombers by 11 points. 6 gone second term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling.
What I've seen in the last, well, we've been going only 4 live minutes, has been the double handling of the Adelaide players, and when they're under pressure, they've given the ball back to Essendon. And that's been the basic difference, really. They've probably won as much football this quarter. I'll have to get Corby to put that second quarter up, but Essendon have retrieved the football from when Adelaide had it, and then they were able to create, and they created that opportunity through that one as well, where there were chases, but they were starting 5 or 6 yards behind, never going to catch the Essendon players, and finish off. Great finish. 2
inside 50s, 2 goals for the Bombers in the quarter.
Yep, there it is.
2 ruckman wrestle, O'Brien and Draper. Goldstein starting from the goal square, and it's locked in as soon as it hits the grass. A tangle of arms and legs. So this time tossed up, still in the centre circle. Merritt went without it. Saligo gets a kick away even though one arm is held. Bobbles around in there. O'Brien tries to break a tackle with a handball. Berry had it, lost it, picked up by McGrath. Then he got it off to Ridley. Put Dersma under the pump out on the city wing. He looks like he was taken high. Play on, said no. Oh, the umpire said play on to an advantage.
Yeah.
Because Dersma bounced up. Anyway, he's been able to get away with it here, Dersma. Gets it to McGrath. He's kicked it straight to Saligo. And that's why the Bombers fans are getting frustrated.
He flicked off the handball in Dersma because he didn't know he had the free kick. And that's why advantage was then paid. And his teammate tried to say, no, we don't want the advantage. The umpire said, bad luck. Taken.
Saligo with the intercept mark, links up with Dowling, kicks inside 50, Murphy in the box seat, Redmond breaks it up, down to Gresham, he took on the tackler again he lost, holding the ball, and Gresham for the second time tonight On this occasion, it was Zach Taylor who got him. And holding the ball, free kick for the Crows, 45 out, centre half forward.
Yeah, just no awareness. Really no awareness that you pick that ball up in someone's back half. Coaches scream at the team to make the contacts, make your tackles in the forward half. You've got to expect it. And the first step you should take is off the line and absolutely as quick as you can.
Had to wait 3 years for his debut, third year on the list for Zach Taylor, the 21-year-old. He's kicked 3 behinds, but so far not an AFL goal. He has now. Slams it through and every Crows player on the ground rushes to him. Zach Taylor, an AFL goal kicker. And all of a sudden the Bombers lead is back to just 5 points. 9 minutes gone, second term. The Crows 4-3-27 trail Essendon 5-2-32. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Lee.
Jade Gresham's the one for me with the Bombers that I just haven't seen that improvement, that lift that I expected, because when he was at St Kilda I rated him very highly and his step was usually so quick and so sharp, his agility, and I know he's had some injury worries towards the end of his St Kilda time, but he would normally be quick enough in that situation to either flick off a handball or a step sideways and buy himself some time. He just keeps getting caught.
I'm with you. I looked at St Kilda and thought, why are you giving him up?
Yeah,
without a fight. And no, there's been no growth at the moment.
10 minutes gone in this second term, and it's Essendon by 5 points. Goldstein's into the ruck. And here he is, Taylor again in the centre getting the handball, but he missed his target. It's been stolen by Durham. He's been absolutely brilliant. The give and go with Goldstein, and then Durham delivers, and Caddy! Caddy's been whacked. Caddy wins a free kick.
I didn't think they were going to pay that for a second then, for the mark, the free kick, the everything.
He was going back with the flight. He had his opponent in front of him, and then coming over late was another Adelaide Crows player who crunched him over the top. Was that Smith? And he's been awarded the free kick. So after getting whacked, can Caddy whack this one through for Essendon with the quick reply? No, he can't. It's got the distance, but it's offline. Hangs it out to the left across the face. So it's Essendon by 6. 4-3-27 Adelaide. Essendon 5-3-33.
Hinge to Butts at centre half back, hands it back to Hinge. Long kick down to half forward to Redbar. Mark taken by Fogarty. Never broke stride. End-to-end goal for the Crows. Darcy Fogarty ties the game, but Mitch Hinge with the exiting 60-metre dart from half back to half forward. And the Crows in a flash go coast to coast. Tie game, 5-3-33 apiece, 11 gone second term. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling on ABC Sport.
Well, that's probably the best goal from a kick-in that I've seen, because it was so calculated. There was no big bomb. It was the first kick found a target at 40. There was the next kick went probably 55.
Oh, beauty, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Just all he had to do was just turn. It was like a great quarterback just throwing the ball to wide receiver. He just turned, and there it was right in front of him. And then he looked up, played on. The danger there is you stop. Played on. He had 3 players, Adelaide players, all in front of their opponents. So he could have used any one of them. Chose...
All out, goal side.
Yep, all out.
All tied up halfway through this second term under the closed roof at Docklands. O'Brien palms it down, no one's there. Caldwell pounces, breaks the tackle, gets the handball off to Shield to Goldstein. O'Brien brings him down, and then a little scuffle at ground level. Toe poke by Shield. Again, it bobbles around in there. Cook's handball ricochets back. Still a big ball to be won. Dawson, the skipper, goes in there. He's flicked back by Jones, who gives it to Cook. Emerges with the footy off to Shoal. Usually a good user in a one-on-one. It's still Thorpe, and it's also Mackay. Mackay wins it clearly. Handballs back to the run of Ridley, and then Ridley delivers down the line. Cook's there. Crows can reload and go again.
Saligo gives it to Laird. Hand pass comes back to Saligo, back to Laird. All by hand in front of the benches. Now the kick down to Murphy. Marks high half forward. Hand pass to Shoal. Adelaide going inside 50 again. No one comes to him. Kicks it deep to the goal square. Gee, big collision. Dersma bangs bodies with Fogarty. Ball still alive. Mackay to Laverty. Mackay's hand pass is shocker. Keys makes him pay. Sharks it, kicks the goal. Ben Keys intercepts the handball and snaps it on his preferred left boot from the forward pocket. And Adelaide are back on top in this game. Lead change number 3. Crows by 6 points, 6-3 to 5-3. 13 gone, second term, Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Corbs, your exact words were Ben Mackay, hand pass, a shocker. You could have said that at any time for his last 4 hand passes. He's been missing the target by a million miles.
Yeah, he has. And
real shaky moments.
Lingy, I'm trying to think who I heard this from. One of our people at ABC, I'm sure, said that knows him reasonably well, has followed his career, that if he makes a mistake early, he's going to make a second, third and fourth. He doesn't know how to pull himself back out of that and go again. It could well have been...
it was someone that...
You know who it was?
It was Brent Harvey.
Brent Harvey. It was Brent Harvey,
It was Brent Harvey.
Yeah, it was too.
So back underway in the centre. Crows lead it by 6 points. Ball still in dispute. Berry plucks it off the turf, gives it to Scholl, stabs it out wide. Too much on it for Dawson. So it'll be a boundary throw in right in front of the Crows bench, where Nick Murray has been subbed off with a knee injury, the same knee that he underwent a knee reconstruction pretty much 12 months ago to the day. So Cook is on as the sub and Perkins named as the sub for the Bombers. Twirling ball back into play. Dawson, it was a hold. It'll be a free kick going the way of Laird for the Crows. Got it on the wing, dockside wing. Puts plenty of air in the kick. Asked the big guys to come and fly. Fogarty almost juggled it when everyone else missed it. Stripped from his hands from Merritt. High up and under. Himmelberg sat under it. So too did Caddy. He's taken a couple of classy marks already. It's inside 50 here though for the Crows. And quick hands gets it to Shield, and Shield's left is dynamite on the boot. And he's able to hit up his teammate in Dersma.
Crows lead the game by 6 points. We've had 3 lead changes, all of them in this second term so far. Essendon did kick the first 3 goals and led by 19 points. Probably thought they were in for a cruisy night, and from that point on they've been outplayed, and Adelaide now lead it. Bombers out of defence, Mackay marks. Back edge of the centre square, short kick to Martin. Spins the footy in his hands. The Crows well set up in their back half. Actually, the last 8 weeks, Adelaide number 2 in the competition for points against, so a defensive game going. The best team at limiting scores per inside 50. Martin to Ridley to Langford, still 70 out, slow play, crowded forward 50, now the contest kick, hands to it from Caddy, no mark. Himmelberg knocks it down, Caddy tried to get a kick away off the deck. Berry looking to clear, turns it over. And Langford marks 51 metres out right half forward.
It's pretty good for this.
Yeah, it doesn't look
This
like...
is going to go. This is going to lay it. No, he's going to lay it off. I thought he was going to lay it off then.
He might do the little late run around just to buy that extra metre.
The Adelaide player is in a perfect position to negate this. So what I'm talking about here, for those that aren't watching, is a sort of like a double layer of players in the mark, which is legal. He's not within 5 metres. Yep. So Langford then can't really play on.
So Langford looking to try and arc out to his right, looking for that extra distance. He's about 55 metres out. His right-footed drop punt sails. Goal when it's offline. Gee, Goldie nearly marked it on the behind line. And in the end, Butts spills it through for a rush behind. So Adelaide by 5. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. 17 gone in the second term. Crows by 5.
Keen's kick in, flared really wide. Saligo was there, and then he spears a bullet straight onto the chest of the running Laird. Here they go again, trying to go coast to coast. Gets it out to Fogarty, and his kick couldn't quite be marked in the end by Phil Thorpe. Good defensive effort from the Bombers, although the little handball was a bit too cute for Kelly. It's come unstuck, picked up by Nervy, and Keys. Back to back for Keys. And they might have unlocked the secret to a surprise win here this evening. That is 4 goals in a row to the Adelaide Crows. And they lead it by 11 points, 7-3-45. Essendon 5-4-34. 10 minutes still to go in this second term.
Just to pump up the Crows quickly, their elite kicking through here has been pretty special in this quarter. But Mick, again, a basic skill error from the Bombers.
Two hand pass. Panicked ones, weren't they? Like didn't take the ball and use it. Took the ball hand pass without steadying. They had. I know you can't muck around down the back half, but you were. If you can steady and lay it off, then gives you an opportunity. What are you going to do? Kick the ball, hand pass the ball, run the ball, you can knock it through, whatever. No, they've gifted those, but both those goals have come from points. Yes. Essendon points.
Bombers kicked the first 3 goals. Adelaide have kicked 7 of the last 9. And the Crows up by 11 points. Back in the middle, O'Brien to head out, straight down to Shield of the Bombers. Approaching time on second turn. Shield goes wide with the kick and finds Dursma. From a Port Adelaide wingman, now in red and black, has it Logo City side. Long kick inside 50. Oh, Dawson comes in from the side and takes a pack mark for the Crows.
He's a very good footballer. I know that's stating the obvious, he's All-Australian, but I just didn't, when he joined the Crows, I didn't realise he was this good.
Shouldn't be understated. What a player he's become. Hasn't missed since joining Adelaide. Played every game that's been available to him. As Kelly then a short kick out wide, hung in the air, and Michael Annie easy, able to knock it away from Merritt and out of bounds. So the Bombers are getting all they can handle at the moment. It's Adelaide by 11 points. 19 gone second turn.
And just as you call that, Corby, there was a short kick in the air, hung there for a long time with an opponent on him. So that ball movement, you're going to cough the ball up 15, 20 metres. You're better off going 60 and see if there's a contest there. So
boundary throw in, and it's a free kick in the ruck against Draper. It'll go to O'Brien. This is the City side wing. He gives it to Saligo. Saligo bombs it long to a pack. Spoil from Ridley. It'll stay in. Mackay scoops it up, handballs backwards to Redmond. They're going back in the defensive 50 to Laverty.
Shaky.
Oh, shaky indeed. Jakey is shaky. In fact, the whole Bombers' defence is a little shaky at the moment. Comes up to the City side, and the umpire says it'll be a boundary throw in.
Sorry, Cal, but that Essendon defensive group, they are rattled at the moment. They don't want to back their kicks. They don't want to go in board. They're nervous about handballing.
They're not running either.
No.
So the defenders are rattled. The fans are raging. They're not enjoying this, the red and black fans at the moment. Draper takes it out of the ruck. Little handball to Dursma. He just throws it on the boot as far as it'll go. It's picked off by Dawson, weaving off to Nankervis, who's striding out across the centre. His handball a little bit too much for Bond. Had it, lost it. Big bump, bodies on the line. Ball squirts out the back. Hard tackle approach from the side from Martin. The ball is not popping out of there, and Bond, who lost it initially, is on the bottom of the pack.
Adelaide just giving those balls away. They're totally clear. I don't know why they want to muck around the hand pass in the middle of the ground.
Out of zone umpire spots are free. It's going Adelaide's way. Led to take it. Middle of Docklands. They're all over the Dons here. Flares it wide to Michael Annie. Marks closes to 52 out. Sets sail for home. There's a mark to Dilthorpe. Again, just out muscles his opponent, Laverty, and wins that hands down on the behind line. Gee, there's a bit on after the kick, as well as there's a little spot fire at centre-half forward for the Crows.
It might have been a downfield anyway, being called, but the players didn't know that where the ball was landing, so it was a genuine mark by Thilthorpe.
Yeah, Michael Annie put down after he got the kick away.
The Adelaide Crows are giving the Dons all they can handle. Thilthorpe kicks his second and pumps up the pocket of South Australians behind the goals at the Lockett end. And Adelaide have kicked 5 on the bounce. The Bombers flat-footed. It's Adelaide 8-3-51, Essendon 5-4-34, 22 gone second term. Crows by their biggest lead of the night. Nick Malthouse, Cameron Ling on ABC Sport.
Gets back to what you said, Lingy. There's bubbling and fumbling and not being sure of themselves in the back half, but in the middle of the ground, I reckon Adelaide have had 3 or 4 opportunities through this game, and that extra hand pass has caused them to lose it. In the first quarter, Essendon took it away. This quarter, luckily they had the troops there and they were able to recover it. And then it's the kicking into the forward line has been brilliant. The longer kicks are really making Essendon stretch out for... They can't get the pack across.
So Adelaide moving quickly with run and handballs through the middle. Bombers struggling to defend that, and the leaders out by 17 points. Here they go again through the middle. Dawson giving it to Murphy. The little man eyes it up from 50 out. He's gone long and he's offline. Through for a minor score. Himmelberg was there trying to juggle the mark on the line, but he couldn't. So Adelaide now lead by 18 points. They've kicked the last 5. 8-4-52 Essendon, 5-4-34.
Ridley steps outside the goal square, goes long up to the wing, and O'Brien hands to it, takes a juggled mark. About to put the Crows back inside 50 again. Hand pass to Dawson, hits up Fogarty, who takes the mark left half forward. He's wide out. He's going to go back over his mark.
Isn't he strong?
Oh, he's so strong. You
can understand why Walker can be left home when you've got a foggy. I'm not saying he's at that stage yet, but he's building towards it.
He's got the distance. We know that. He's a beautiful kick of the footy, but this will be a good goal.
There's no Taylor Walker tonight, their all-time champion goal kicker, so Fogarty and Philthorpe, a little glimpse to generation next up front. He's wide out at left half forward, 55 metres out, makes good contact, sails, goal, and it's there! Oh, it's all Adelaide and it's all Darcy Fogarty. He comes up with his second goal. That is a ripper finish, and Adelaide have kicked the last 6 in the game. And alarm bells for the Bombers and Brad Scott, big time. 9-4-58, Essendon 5-4-34, time on second term. Gee, the Crows just relentless at the moment. Latest update, by the way, from what has been happening in the world today, the global IT outage affecting many institutions in Australia and internationally. Now, the latest news from CrowdStrike, who are the US-based cybersecurity firm responsible for the outage, says it has identified, isolated and deployed a fix for an unprecedented outage that has affected computer systems worldwide. The company says a defect has been found in a single content update for Windows hosts, and that Mac and other hosts are not impacted by. So that is the latest news. More in the ABC News at halftime.
The latest news here is that it's all the Adelaide Crows against the Bombers. They go inside 50 again. Keys is going to dribble it through. Oh, this is the best quarter of footy Adelaide's played all year. Ben Keys has got his third. It's 7 straight against the stumbling Bombers. And the lead in the blink of an eye has blown out to 30 points. 10-4-64 Adelaide. Essendon 5-4-34. The Bombers led by 5 points at quarter time.
Amazing. What a quarter of footy the Crows have played, Cal. And Nick, this is perhaps the type of footy a lot of football people thought that the Crows were going to do this season. And I know it's been a disappointing season, and you have to wonder whether or not, Philthorpe comes back in and some of they leave a Tex Walker out. Again, not to write anyone off, but just some of the really good ball users, the youth that's in there. The midfield just looks a little bit different, a little bit more dynamic. Playing some wonderful footy at the moment. Essendon, though, they've got to respond to this. They've got to find something.
7 in a row for the Crows. 30 points, as Kel mentioned, Adelaide's way. They've got it again. Adelaide going forward once more. Taylor, hand pass away to O'Brien. Kicks inside 50. Himmelberg knocks it down. Here's Rochelle. Hand pass to Berry. Takes some ground, steadies up and makes it 8 in a row. Essendon are getting blown off their own park. And it is all Adelaide on the road. They lead it by 6 goals. 26 gone in the second term. And Adelaide's late season revival continues. 11-4-70. The Bombers 5-4-34. Crows by 36. Mick Oldhouse, Cameron Ling on ABC Sport.
It was hard to look at quarter time. We thought they're in the game.
Yeah.
But with 5 minutes of genuine minutes to go, kicking 9 goals, it's just hard to realise. It's hard to realise against a side that has just vacated top 4. They've been in the top 4 for basically the whole year, and collectively in the middle are generally a very solid. They're just getting slaughtered at the contested football, and their backline is just disintegrated. And I've got to say that there's not a backline player, and I rate most of them, that just can't win a one-on-one.
Well, this has come from nowhere. They've come from the clouds. They need to win it out of the centre here, Essendon. Goldstein tried to handball. Now a loose ball. Nick Cox is there. He slips over. He goes to ground. Everything the Bombers touch turns to dust at the moment. Crows are going to pounce on the rebound. Laird pirouettes. Waits for some help to come from Bond. Delivered low down to Himmelberg. Bond comes in and crashes again. Puts his body on the line. And it'll be a ball up just inside 50 here for Adelaide.
Their pressure has been enormous, Cal, but their ball use has been brilliant.
Bombers desperately need a charging station. It's a 36-point lead for the Crows. They've kicked the last 8 in the game. From the restart, Stringer hands it to Merritt. Handball to Caldwell. Hand pass as he's taken high. Free kick for Caldwell at half-back. And they have looked powerless to stop this onslaught. They've conceded 8 goals in 17 minutes.
One of the things that's been, what we spoke about early in the game, one-on-one is not leaving Essendon any real sure targets to run the football. It's all a contest every time.
Caldwell with a contest kick here, up to the wing, spills inboard. Hinge, hand pass away to Bond, kicks in front of Rochelle. Essendon with the numbers at centre half back. Caldwell kicks out to the wing and Stringer will mark on the logo. Crows by 36, approaching half time.
Oh no, Stringer's drawn in. Keane, the Irishman, who probably doesn't even know the exact rule, and he's cribbed over the line.
Jeez,
he drags Stringer within range. That was crafty.
Yeah, but he'd have an argument there.
Yeah, he played on.
The Crows player, sorry?
Keane.
I reckon Stringer went.
Yes,
I reckon
absolutely.
he stepped and faked to kick.
Yeah, the umpire didn't call play on quick enough.
And then Stringer turned and looked at the umpire and said, hang on, who are you going to call it in favour of? Well, it's in favour of Stringer. Goalless last week, won the week before that, 2 the week before that. First real impact on the game, yes, he loves it. He loved it the moment he was able to strike the Sherrin on his boot. And they put a stop. They stopped the rot of 8 straight. And the margin's back to 30 points with Jake Stringer kicking his first of the night. 6-4-40 Essendon. Adelaide 11-4-70. 3.5 minutes to play before half-time after Essendon led by 5 points at quarter-time.
And now you look at the Essendon midfielders going. So Draper's in the ruck. Then it's Caldwell, Merritt and Dylan Shield. Experienced, quality players. Caldwell's the youngest of the group, but now a very established player. But they just have to win this next clearance. There's 3 minutes 26 to go on the clock. They cannot let the Crows score another goal. They've got to find a way to get one before half-time. Build some momentum and something to take into half-time to get something going for the second half. Over to this really experienced midfield group for the Bombers.
Draper palms it down to Shield, tries to step his way through traffic. Tough handball for Merritt. Merritt tried to give it back to him. Saligo had it, lost it. The Merritt tackle. Spills to Draper, sockers it to Martin. Hand pass away to Caldwell. Handball to Durham, kicks inside 50 over the head of Langford. Bounces close to the boundary line and Guelphy collects it but out of room. And a throw in right forward pocket for the Dons. So just on that 17-minute period, Adelaide went from 11 down to 36 up. They kicked 8 unanswered goals in 17 minutes.
It's impressive. Very impressive.
Amazing flip in the game.
And a lot from stoppages.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Dons. O'Brien on the way down, won the hit out. Merritt had it, lost it. Spills out to Cook. His hand pass to Bond. Handball to Butts. Extra hand pass finds Smith. And he kicks off half-back down the wing for Adelaide.
Phil Thorpe let Himmelberg fly, and then Himmelberg was creative. While he was sitting on his backside, he got it up to Keys, who dribbles it down the line, and Ridley sees it over. Boundary throw in right in front of the Crows bench, where it's been an avalanche of goals for Adelaide this quarter.
It's very well done by Keys. It reminded me of touch in the Australian versus Wales rugby last weekend.
Twirling ball back into play. O'Brien palms it only as far down as Nick Cox, who's tackled while standing up in the tackle. So thrown up in the air here this time. Caldwell tackled by Keys.
But it's well done by the umpire too, Kel.
Yep.
You know, if we're in doubt, just blow the whistle so that we don't have that confusion.
Here we go. Oh, both ruckmen tumbled to the turf. They didn't let go of each other. Caldwell bobs up with it, off to Merritt. Handballs into the centre of the ground to Redmond, who's a thumping kick. This time he's going to put it out in front of Guelphy. He's going to have to take it on the bounce. Bearing down is Smith. He's 70 metres out. He pops it up, looks for Redmond, who marks in front of Rochelle. He's going to go. Redmond can kick it from 50. He unloads from 50, and he nails it from 50. From downtown Redmond. How many times has he done that before? His eyes lit up, and he gobbled it up. And they've hit back with 2 quick goals to turn it into a 24-point deficit after it was 36. Adelaide lead by 24. 11-4-70. Essendon 7-4-46. 2 minutes to play before half-time.
Yeah, good play by the Bombers. Yeah. First touch for a long time. First touch out, first touch going. And Redmond didn't hesitate. So there was... When you mark like that, there's always a hesitation by the man on the mark. And if you can gain that first step, you've just about got him, and that's what he did. Smart play, opened up the goals for him. Then you have to finish off, and it was a terrific kick. They're back in the game, the Bombers. You know, this game is such a fluctuation. The Adelaide aren't necessarily a great side. They're going to be able to withstand this onslaught that Essendon now can bring.
Crows by 24 points. Draper wins it down. Hand pass from Dawson, a turnover. Draper's onto it. From 60 out, he unloads goalward. Caddy can't reel it in on the behind line. And in the end, it didn't quite clear. Didn't go through from behind. Adelaide thought it did. I'm sure they'll look at it upstairs. In the end, the ball's out of play now. We'll have a throw in right forward pocket.
Well, do they take just a few seconds, Corbs, and let them look? Or
Mark Keane looked straight at the goal umpire and said, I thought that was through for a behind. And the goalie's happy with his call, so boundary throw-in deep forward for the Bombers. O'Brien first hands on it. Down to Caldwell. Tackled, lost it. Live footy. 15 out from the Bombers' goal. Scrap on for it. Berry over the top of it. Stands up with the footy. It breaks 2 tackles. Great work from the Crows. Hand pass to Keys. Kicks out of defence. Thilthorpe lost Mackay. Umpire says play on. Ridley. Hand pass to Langford. Handball to Dersma for Essendon.
He spots a player right outside 50, centre half forward. It's Redmond. Redmond's going to go for home again. Can he go back to back? Doesn't have the distance. It's touched right on the line. Through for a minor score.
Momentum's with the Bombers. If they finish off with one next minute, that's right back in the game.
Okay, let's get down to Tim Hodges. Hodgie.
Yeah, real concern for the Crows. Their captain, Jordan Dawson, is off. I originally thought he'd done a hamstring. It looks like a really, really severe corky. He's with the physio and the doctor at the moment.
So we're a minute before half-time. Adelaide just slow and steady, short, sharp kicks. Cook's now got it at half-back.
the corky nice and high up for Dawson, right around that hip pointer part. That hurts.
Yeah.
Oh.
Scale of 1 to 10 on the pain stakes, Lingy?
Very, very high.
Okay, Cook gets around the defender and then kicks to half forward where it's all Essendon. Langford and up and under. 36 seconds to go before the siren sounds under the closed roof here at Docklands for half-time.
It might be a 7 tonight, Cal, but it's 7? A 10 tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. Ouch.
I tell you what, Adelaide can't do without him either.
Langford. Caldwell, rather. Can he create something? A bouncing ball. Oh, Luck's a fortune. It lands in the lap of Merritt. Got a quick, hurried kick away. They're inside 50 here, Essendon, although repelling. Hinge. Saligo. Berry. Loses it. Merritt's fighting hard. Laird. To Scholl. And O'Brien will mark. And the siren will sound. And that is Adelaide's best quarter for the season, you'd have to say. After trailing by 5 points and with just 2 goals to their name at quarter time, they piled on 8 straight. 8 majors in 17 minutes. It was an avalanche of goals to the northern end of this stadium before Stringer goal to put a stop to it. So they piled on 9 goals to 4 in that second term, and they take a 23-point lead. It was as much as 36 at one point. 11-4-70, Essendon 7-5-47. The goal kickers, Keys has 3, Fogarty 2, Thilthorpe 2, and singles to Rochelle, Dowling, Taylor and Berry. And for the Bombers, it's 2 to Jones, singles to Cox, Durham, Langford, Stringer and Redmond. 3
lead changes in that second quarter. Incredible start to the game. The Bombers kicked the first 3 goals in the opening 9 minutes. They led by 19 points themselves, and then Adelaide kicked 11 of the next 13, including that 17-minute burst where they kicked 8 unanswered goals and went from 11 down to 36 up. And now the Bombers have kicked the last 2 of the game to make sure they're still in it at half-time. It is Adelaide by 23 points, 11-4 over Essendon 7-5. The thoughts of Mick and Lingy coming up in just a moment. Plus, we'll get the latest as well on the global IT outage, which has affected institutions in Australia and internationally today, relating to the US-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. The latest news is that CrowdStrike has identified, isolated and deployed a fix for an unprecedented outage that has affected computer systems worldwide. More on that coming up in the news in just a moment. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. Hodgie, it's been eventful down there in the first half as well.
It certainly has, but I think the biggest concern right now for the Crows is their captain and their best player, Jordan Dawson. As I said, I thought he'd done a hamstring the way he couldn't run off the ground. It's a high left hip corky, as Lingy explained best. He had about 4 minutes of treatment on it. He then had to be helped up off the physio bench. He's just trying to walk at the moment as he's trying to... he's not even trying to lead his team off. He's at the back because he's just struggling to walk, let alone run. So I'm not sure what a 20-minute break here at half-time. It's probably the worst possible time for it to come. What that's going to look like in 20 minutes' time, whether he can get that leg going again, they've already made their sub. We know Nick Murray is out with the left knee injury, so it's going to be a real watch because the Crows desperately need their captain back out there in the second half.
Thanks, Hodgie. And Archie Perkins just having a kick with Travis Cloak, the Essendon runner, after the team went in at half-time. So Perkins unused so far for the Bombers. The thoughts of Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling at half-time. It's Adelaide by 23 points.
Mick, it was a remarkable quarter. I mean, we know how good the Crows were. Their ball use was just simply brilliant across the whole ground. A couple of times from kick-outs.
Kick-outs, yeah.
We just went bang, bang, bang down the field. The goal kicking superb. They kicked 9 goals for the quarter. But the Bombers also kicked 4 goals.
Yeah.
It's a 13-goal quarter. It was humming around the ball at times. Now, when Adelaide were on top and dominant, the fumbling and the mistakes and the almost going back into the shells of the Essendon players was alarming. But I'll give them a little pump-up credit. The last 5 minutes, they
dominate.
were able to flip it back the other way and get the clearances going and hunt after the footy, and some of their ball use improved. So the response was quite good, but you don't want to be conceding 9 goals before you go and fix things up.
Look, you're right in regard to the backline. Essendon's backline was a bit jumpy, but take nothing away from Adelaide's ball use. It's probably the best goal, if there can be a best goal, and sometimes we see, Zach Tui kick the ball off from centre half back and from full back and it lobs in the centre of the ground and it rushed down and kicked goal. But this was actually precision kicking from full back, out to a player, found the next player, over the back, player plays on, kicks a goal.
That was Hinge to Fogarty.
Yeah.
Fogarty nailed the goal in the end. They were as good as you see.
And they got the next one was another goal from a kick-off. Their next goal.
Yeah.
So it was an Essendon point.
I reckon Saligo involved in that one.
Could have been, yeah. And you think, wow, what are we seeing here? And that makes sides very jumpy because then you're not guarding grass. All of a sudden you've been pulled out of position because we know that there's only 3 ways you can score, and one of them is from a kick-off, and it's such a low percentage of your score. But if the side kicks 2 in a row, all of a sudden your shape changes. You're going to go, well, hang on, we better start manning up here. So threw Essendon out a little bit because they then become very reactionary.
Can I just highlight that? So I think the average scores from kick-outs, average across the competition, is 2 points per team per game.
Wow.
2 points. So we've already seen 2 goals, so
Yep.
12 points.
Yeah, well,
So massively.
I think it might even be more than that, but we know that those 2 because I reckon there might have been one early that may have been whatever. We'll worry about that later on. But then Essendon got a bit jumpy because all of a sudden their whole mechanism got thrown out and they become so reactionary that Adelaide were then able to, whatever they did, Essendon was second to it. Second to the ball, second to the hand pass, second to the tackle, second in the air. And then the goal from the 50-metre penalty.
Yep, Jake Stringers.
All of a sudden, bit of belief, and we'll put them back on the
A
back.
couple of centre clearances got them going.
And backline kicking a goal. So all of a sudden there was run, and it's amazing what run does. I walked down here tonight. I was walking in behind 2 Essendon people, and it said "Speed kills." And we know that's one of the ads that used to be, and Essendon were renowned for that speed of movement, and it just created so much doubt for the opposition. Well, it was speed in the end that got them back in the game, and it was speed that got Adelaide back in the game. So both sides will be sitting there now. How do we stop this, and how do we get better? And the stoppages are going to be pivotal. Can we get Dawson back on the ground? That's going to be the most important for Adelaide.
I mean, they don't need any excuses made from Essendon the way they're going and what happened in that quarter. But can sometimes, if you start as hot as they did in that first 10 minutes, can sometimes that, I guess, change the psyche of the group that all of a sudden you think this is going to be our night? They kicked 3 goals in the first 10 minutes, and from that point on, once all of a sudden the game settled into some kind of a pattern, it wasn't their kind of game, it was Adelaide's kind of game, and ultimately the scoreboard caught up with what we saw really from about the 10-minute mark in the first quarter onwards.
To answer your question, yes, it can lull you in, but that is also a sign of an immature team. Mature teams don't think 10 minutes in, we've kicked 3 goals, this is going to be like this for the rest of the game. So, no, I think that shouldn't be the case with Essendon. I think Essendon, let's take it back to that first quarter, they invited Adelaide into the game because Essendon were all over them, dominant on the scoreboard but also around the ground. And then for about the next 7 or 8 minutes of that first quarter, after that great start, they just kept kicking it back to the Crows, kept kicking it back to their Crows half-backs, and the Crows started feeling good. And so the Adelaide basically said, here, let me open the door for you. come on in.
Yeah.
You can join the game now. And the Crows said, thank you, I'll take that invite. And, I mean, I didn't see a 9-goal quarter coming from that, but they were certainly brought back into the game, unfortunately, by Essendon's skill errors.
It's fascinating second half in front of us. Adelaide leading the game, the Bombers chasing it. So a 23-point lead for the Crows on the back of an extraordinary second term in which they were able to rack up 9 goals to Essendon's 4 in that second quarter alone. It's been an enormous news day, so a chance for us before the third quarter gets underway to see what's happening in the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. A cybersecurity firm at the centre of a global outage has told the federal government that a fix has been issued. However, the disruption may still take some time to resolve. The Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill has been among senior government officials and other key stakeholders meeting with CrowdStrike after an issue with one of its updates caused the computer systems of many multinational organisations to crash. The Minister says there's no evidence that this is a cybersecurity incident and that governments remain closely engaged at all levels. Many computer systems around the world, including here in Australia, have been slowly coming back online following what some experts have been describing as the largest technology outage that they've ever seen. Cybersecurity experts say users should not disable CrowdStrike systems, but instead attempt to install the new update. Microsoft says it anticipates a resolution is forthcoming. The company says the issue affecting Windows devices is due to the update from the third-party software platform. The Prime Minister says that he understands the concern caused by the technical outage. Anthony Albanese says that there's been no impact to critical infrastructure, including government services and 000 calls. Travellers are being warned to prepare for long delays at airports across the country. Virgin Australia says its operations remain stable and that it's supporting guests who are disrupted away from their home port with accommodation arrangements. The airline is encouraging guests travelling over the next 24 hours to check the status of their flight prior to travel. Passengers have reported long delays at airports across the country, including some planes being disembarked on the tarmac. Telstra says the outage is disrupting some of its systems, and while calls to 000 contact centres aren't affected, relevant emergency services in each state and territory may be impacted. The Commonwealth Bank says some of its customers have been unable to make Pay ID payments, and Woolworths says some of its stores and other facilities have been impacted. Coles says that it's working quickly to get its systems back up and running. While in the US, multiple media outlets are reporting Delta, United and American Airlines have all been ordered to halt takeoffs by the Federal Aviation Administration, with airports and other infrastructure throughout Europe also affected. In other news this evening, Donald Trump has given the headline speech at the Republican National Convention in his first address since surviving an assassination attempt. The Republican presidential candidates called for unity, briefly recounting what he experienced when a bullet hit his ear at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump has also swiftly pivoted to well-worn attacks on the Biden administration, which he claims are destroying the country. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden's campaign has continued to dismiss reports of high-level Democratic concern as baseless, insisting that he will remain the Democratic nominee for November's presidential election. Closing arguments have begun in the trial of the American journalist Evan Gershkovich, who faces espionage charges in a Russian court. The closed-door trial is happening in Yekaterinburg in the Urals, where Mr. Gershkovich was arrested last March while on a reporting trip. His employer, the Wall Street Journal, and the White House have labelled his trial as a sham. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has met with his British counterpart, Keir Starmer, at Downing Street. Mr. Zelensky is also due to address a meeting of the British Cabinet. He will be the first foreign leader to do so in the UK for nearly 3 decades. He's expected to tell them that his country needs long-range missiles and permission to use them against targets inside Russia. Keir Starmer's seeking to show that his Labor Party government will maintain the support to Kyiv that has begun under his Conservative predecessors. Back home, and a man's been charged with assaulting a member of the public after disembarking from a flight at Perth Airport in the early hours of the morning. The Australian Federal Police arrested the 30-year-old South Fremantle man after allegedly shoulder charging and punching another man after stepping off a flight from Bali. And repeating our top story, a cybersecurity firm at the centre of a global outage, CrowdStrike, has told the federal government that a fix has been issued, but warns that the disruption may still take some time for it to resolve. This is ABC News.
Embark on adventures through ABC iView.
Now is the time.
Like with Miriam Margolyes.
I'm on a quest.
Welcome to Broken Hill, Miriam.
Ningaloo.
It's one of the last intact places on the planet.
Tony Armstrong's Extraordinary Things.
Holy Hector. We should have picked a smaller country.
Stuff the British stole.
It's been a treasury, it's been a temple. Is it also a crime scene?
And so many more. Always free, always adventurous on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Billy Dowling skips in. Centre half forward, the 20-year-old is drop punt, sails goalward, and for the first time tonight, he puts the Crows in front.
Bounce is perfect in the centre. Draper tried to get it to Stringer. He needs to beat a couple of Crows either side. The ball spills clear. Durham pounces, and Durham delivers.
Hinge to Butts, centre half back, hands it back to Hinge. Long kick down to half forward to Ripper. Mark taken by Fogarty. Never broke stride. End-to-end goal for the Crows. Darcy Fogarty ties the game. Ball still alive. Mackay to Laverty. Mackay's hand passes Shocker. Keys makes him pay. Sharks it, kicks the goal.
Good defensive effort from the Bombers, although the little handball was a bit too cute for Kelly. It's come unstuck, picked up by Murphy and Keys. Back to back for Keys.
Fogarty and Filthorpe, a little glimpse to Generation Next up front. He's wide out at left half forward, 55 metres out, makes good contact, sails, goal when it's there! Oh, it's all Adelaide and it's all Darcy Fogarty. He comes up with his second goal. That is a ripper finish. Taylor, hand pass away to O'Brien, kicks inside 50, Himmelberg knocks it down, here's Rochelle, hand pass to Berry, takes some ground, steadies up and makes it 8 in a row. Essendon are getting blown off their own park.
Bearing down is Smith. He's 70 metres out. He pops it up, looks for Redmond, who marks in front of Rochelle. He's going to go. Redmond can kick it from 50. He unloads from 50, and he nails it from 50. From downtown Redmond.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
We're always lucky to be here. Friday night footy on ABC Sport, and so it is again tonight with an 18-goal first half. It is Adelaide 11-4. They lead Essendon 7-5 at the main break. A 23-point advantage for the road team. The Crows on the back of a 9-goal second quarter, including 8 in a row at one stage, as you heard in those highlights, in a 17-minute burst and an extraordinary second quarter. The Crows by 23 at the half. Corbin Middlemass and Kelly Underwood calling the footy. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling, our Friday night experts. Of course, the coaching icon and the legendary Cat. Now, off the SMS, which is 0437 774 774. Haven't got to too many of these tonight, given the fact we've had global IT outages and all sorts of bits and pieces to work our way through. Laura Kane, the EGM of footy, joined us in the pre-game. If you missed that, it is available at the moment through the ABC Listen app or the podcast store. Just look for the Best of ABC Sport folder and you can hear our full chat with Laura Kane from the pre-game there. Josh Rochelle must be harder in the contest from Riley. So he's got Josh Rochelle in his sights straight up. Tom, revisiting our pre-game chat, says, sorry, Kelly, I'm with you, Kelly. It's not a legal issue, it's common sense. Common sense survival from Tom, sorry, just to read that correctly. Derek, Mick, Lingy, thank you for the spirit of defence of our great game. You made some great points. Mick, if our game is not able to adapt and change to stop players getting concussed and having their brains affected for the rest of their lives, then what does it say about the strength of its fabric? That it's not that strong. From Nicole in Castlemaine. How can Cameron get off but Heaney can't? That's from Carolyn. So just to clarify that is, of course, a error of law as to why Cameron and Bedford were able to get off. Nothing to do with the actual case itself. So both the MRO and the tribunal saw all three of those the same way, Heaney, Bedford and Cameron, and felt they were worthy of a suspension. Basically, the legal team had more success for the Lions and the Giants than what the Sydney legal team had. And good discussion, Mick and Lingy. Don't sanitise the game. It's the AFL. So that's from Jan. Appreciate all your contributions off the SMS.
Charlie Cameron's been on the receiving end some very good legal work. The good bloke defence?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then a legal technicality.
Yep.
Well played.
Well, he shouldn't have gone this time.
Did you read the text out, Corbin, from earlier where it said Mick should apologise to me?
I haven't.
Why didn't you read that one out?
To be honest, I'm getting them sort of...
They're coming thick and fast.
They are.
The one supporting me, Kelsey, he's just holding back on them.
Yeah.
Do you need an apology, Kel?
No, I'm a big girl. I can handle it.
There's a fun debate in the pre-game a little earlier, if you weren't with us, about the state of the game. It's been a hot issue all week, hasn't it? If you want to hear more from Mick Moldhouse, he'll be in the chair alongside Luke Ball and myself tomorrow from 12 noon Australian Eastern Standard Time. Of course, all your footy shows, it'll be front and centre, I'm sure, in each of them. 10 a.m. in Perth. And then throughout WA, you'll get Sports Talk. 11 a.m, you'll get SA Grandstand in South Australia. And, of course, following that, you will get coverage of AFL Saturday with myself, Mick and Bally. And Cameron Ling is up 12 noon in his usual spot on AFL Sunday with Matt Clench. So that's the layout for what's to come. Just quickly before Sunday teams, there is a game being played tonight in the NRL. That is between the Canberra Raiders and the Warriors. Of course, it's a shortened weekend. Hot off the heels of Origin. What a win for the Mighty Blues back on Wednesday night. And it is the Canberra Raiders with 32 minutes to go that lead the Warriors 14-10. So close game still to be decided at Canberra Stadium. Sunday teams out today. Mark Pitternet dropped, so Carlton going back to the one ruckman. That was probably the headline act out of those teams that came through. Boyd is injured, so he's out of the Carlton team. No major surprises really across the board elsewhere. If we look at those other Sunday games, Morris and McKenna drop for the Lions. Starcevic and Smith get the start for the Brisbane Lions. Tim Hodges is on the boundary as the players are out in position, ready to start the second half. Crows by 23. Hodgie.
The Crows media department told us that Jordan Dawson, the captain, spent much of the halftime break on the spin bike, just keeping that left leg going around and around and around and keeping it warm. He is out in the middle to start this second half, which is good news after he spent the last 4 or 5 minutes of the second term having treatment for a severe corky right up on the hip on that left side. So hopefully he's okay in this second half, Corbin.
Thanks, Hodgie. Archie Perkins, the unused sub for the Bombers, and Nick Murray, unfortunately, subbed out with another left knee injury. Same one he tore his ACL on last year, so he's already out of the game. Dawson to start at the centre bounce. We're ready to go for the third term. It is Adelaide by 23, but the Bombers kicked the last 2 goals. Have we still got a game, Mick and Lingy?
Oh, yes, we have. Yeah, Essendon got themselves back right in the game.
A season-shaping second half coming up for the Essendon Football Club. A couple of weeks ago, they beat the Pies, and it looked like they were going to be locked in for September. But if they drop a second consecutive one here, then September is certainly no guarantee. Underway in the second. Saligo tried the don't argue, and he wins a free kick. Stringer's throwing his arms up to say, what was that for?
It was for a push in the back.
Okay, he gave it off to Hinge, who gives it to Dawson, involved straight away, and he delivers to O'Brien. Inside 50, directly in front, 35 metres out.
Well done, Riley O'Brien. He just burned off Draper and made Draper look a little bit, I won't say lazy, but he certainly wasn't concentrating to spread from the middle on him. Draper just ball watched, did nothing. O'Brien got exactly where he should have got to.
Dropped a couple of weeks ago. Riley O'Brien, he's kicked just the 2 goals so far this season. From directly in front. Distance will not be a problem to give them the first. And a real sniff here and belief, and he's missed.
Well, that was odds on.
He sprays it to the right. It was an awkward-looking run-up, Mick.
Awkward. Not only that, it wasn't meant for him, that kick. So it was a missed kick that he marked.
Redmond brings it in wide to Draper, takes the mark and moves it on immediately. Got a hand pass away to Gresham. He goes for the 1-2 to McGrath. Gresham wants another give and go. Does so with Laverty. Hand pass to Mackay. He gives it to Kelly. The Bombers, though, going east-west rather than north-south. And Kelly, across the half-back line, finds Dersma.
That's 8 possessions and they went nowhere.
Instead of at right half-back, they're at left half-back.
And that 1-on-1 has really confused Essendon because they normally find that little 20 or 30-yard kick just can't find it at the moment.
Crows by 4 goals. Kick down to Caddy. Skims off his knuckles to Menzies. Pokes it into the forward pocket. Chase on. Langford and Butts, and they share it over the boundary line. Throw in forward pocket for the Bombers. Crows by 24. High team stand from Victoria. I hope Mick and Cal have shaken hands and sitting in their various corners. Love the discussion. That's a red corner, blue corner type stuff.
Toss back in. Deep inside 50 here for Essendon. Gresham picks it up. Handballs into space. Hinge has got it. No one comes at him, so he's able to assess the options and stab the ball straight down to Butts. Takes the uncontested mark. Gives it off to Smith. He's a thumping kick, and he goes into the centre of the ground where Ridley with the intercept mark and kick finds Redmond. So they'll reset and go again here, Essendon.
Long kick down to half forward. Nick Cox marks. He's one of a number of players out there with plenty of blue paint on him that's come off the markings on the ground. Looks into the forward pocket. Caddy the target. No mark. Knocked away from him and through for a rush behind. So Adelaide by 23. Back where we were at the half. 3 minutes into the third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's something like what Caddy did then. Turn around to the kicker. Well, he's a young player playing his first year, and he tells the kicker, no, you didn't kick it properly to me.
And Curvis to Butts. Butts down looking for Phil Thorpe. Got Mackay for company. Mackay swats it over the boundary line. So
that tells me, sorry, Cal, that he's definitely a true forward.
True forward. I'll tell you a wonderful story. When we're 10 goals in front, and I'll tell you a story about Richmond under Tommy Hafey. What he said about one of those things.
Spinning ball back into play right in front of the Crows bench. Merritt, who's been tagged in that opening half by Bond. Nankervis goes without it. It spills the way of Essendon. Dawson tackles Stringer, and Dawson, no, held up.
Good decision by the umpire, because he tried to kick it, and if there's no prior opportunity, all you have to do is try.
O'Brien tried to get it down to Dawson, tries to flick it then to Cook. They emerge with the footy. Well done by the Adelaide Crows. Butts with the little give to Bond. Playing just a handful of games off to Michael Annie. Has a bounce. He's breaking stride through the centre of the ground. He's looking for Fogarty. Fogarty lost it in the air, and then at ground level he tries to pick it up, and he's tackled by Ridley. The umpire says he had it held to him. It'll be a ball up directly in front of the Crows' goal.
I reckon Fogarty could have done more with that. The ball was not it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't exactly something that you couldn't have got your hands to.
Draper and Phil Thorpe share it in the ruck. Down to Keys. Chucks it on the right peg. Keys misses. Far side of behind. Adelaide by 24. 4.5 gone in the third term. I was thinking, Mick, whatever Tom Hafey said, it didn't seem to get through too many lineages of Richmond key forwards, because there was a fair bit of finger pointing from a couple of their keys in recent years.
Oh, yeah. No, that's exactly right. No, it's a good story. Barmy's on the end of it, so I'll share it with you.
Quick couple of kicks for Essendon, but they might have turned it over here on the city side wing. Crows. O'Brien. Only as far as Merritt, who's able to swoop across half-back, squares the kick to Dersma. Both teams started this second half with urgency. It was Adelaide by 23 at half-time after Essendon led by 5 at quarter-time. They're on the build-up here. Martin's got it right in front of the two benches, and his kick is pinpoint. Stringer got off the leash and found a bit of space. He's just a step in from the boundary. He's right on 50. He doesn't go for home. He's going to set it up. Butts flew in front and dropped an absolute sitter. And the umpire says free kick, play on, advantage. Gresham strolls in and kicks it into the second tier. It was a free kick off the play. And Gresham says, yep, I'll take that advantage. Doesn't break into second gear. Strides on in, strolls in fact, and gets his first for the night. So it's Adelaide by 18. Essendon clawing their way back. 8-6-54. Adelaide 11-6-72. Early stages of the third.
Well, Nick Cox free kick, wasn't it? Against the holdout.
O'Brien?
Yeah, I think it was O'Brien. And it was going to be a certain goal for him. And Gresham, just as cheeky little small forwards can occasionally do, thought, I didn't realise it was my teammate's ball. Sorry, I'll just pop it through for a goal.
Well, I'm not getting a lot of kicks, so when you put G next to the name, it's pretty good.
The Bombers fans sensing comeback in the works here. They've kicked the last 3 of the game after being 6 goals down. It's an 18-point game Adelaide's way. O'Brien swats it down straight to Merritt. Kicks inside 50, Caddy the target. Carries his head, free kick for Caddy. And he's getting that free kick for the push that you mentioned, Nick. It was against Jordan Butts, gave him the shove. And the young, precocious key forward will get it straight in front, 40 metres out.
He just reached for him. He put his hands out and gave him the shove. That's there. I mean, I don't mind hearing an argument about the previous one with O'Brien and Cox. It was probably just there, but a bit tiggy. But that was there, clear.
The teenage sensation to give them a spark. Through it goes. And the building is jumping. The Bombers with 4 on the bounce, and they're right back in this game. Essendon moved to 9,660. Adelaide 11,672. The Crows' 36-point lead is just 12 now. 7 gone in the third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The coaching icon Mick Malthouse and the legendary cat Cameron Ling.
Well, it gets down to those clearances.
Yeah.
And that was a very poor setup by Adelaide. They had no sweeper. And their ruckman actually directed the ball into a sweeping zone, and Merritt ran onto it. It's quite bizarre that you would palm the ball back into your sweeping area without your sweepers. I mean, I really can't get that.
Merritt just couldn't believe his luck.
Well, he was, and the sweeper is right behind the ruckman for those while we're talking. Merritt just got there without any company whatsoever.
Listen to the red and black army. They're almost willing their team over the line. They know how important the 4 points is as they try to bear down on September. Adelaide's handball's gone straight to Martin. Martin was stripped of it, pouncing on it. Here is Michaelani, delivers into the deep forward line of the Adelaide Crows. It's knocked down under the punt McGrath, and then he's happy to soccer it over the line, the point line. And through for a minus score. What a topsy-turvy game. Essendon with the first 3 of the game. And Adelaide in that second term kicked 8 straight. And now what is it, Corbin? 4 in a row to Essendon after that. So Essendon by 13 points.
McGrath, long kick to the wing, and Harry Jones takes a superb pack mark for Essendon. He flares the kick wide to Caldwell. Boundary line city side, links up with Langford. Better ball movement from the Bombers. Dabs it inside 50 and Merritt marks. He's not confident with the trip. He plays on, he shoots but misses near side. Behind for Zach Merritt, rush that one, the skipper. 12-point lead for the Crows, 9 gone, third quarter. Friday night footy.
It's not too often Zach Merritt rushes with his disposal.
He had a clear player right in front to him, would have been Caddy.
Yeah, or could have just gone back and had a more calm set shot.
Smith runs his full measure, delivers to the key big man on the dockside wing. Ridley emerges with it, short to Martin. Martin plays on and then stabs that low at the eyes. Hits up Langford. Langford from right on 50 off a standing start. Caddy drops it at the last minute, and then the kick ricochets into the post. It's a free kick to Caddy. It's coming back. Caddy will take it. Right a metre out from the goal line.
Oh, so Welfie had the snap. The umpire could have said you took the advantage. Instead said he didn't realise it was a free kick. Called it back to Caddy.
And the crowd tells you the story. Back-to-back goals for the teenage gun. And they are back in this contest in a big way. After trailing by 36 points, it's now a 6-point margin. Adelaide 11-7-73, trying to hold their nerve desperately against the fast-finishing Bombers 10-7-67. After 11 minutes of play in this third term, Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Kel, the Crows are banged up as well. Jordan Butts just limped off the ground straight down to the rooms. We know Nick Murray's already been subbed out. Rory Ladd has just returned to the field after sitting on the spin bike for 5 or 6 minutes. We know the captain, Jordan Dawson, who is also on the bench now, is pretty banged up. So they're struggling, the Crows, to hold this momentum.
Yeah, I can understand that. There's no momentum whatsoever at the moment.
Bounce isn't great. It's been recalled. And extreme wild momentum swings, as Cal outlined before. So Bombers first 3, Adelaide 11 of the next 13, led by 36 points, and now the Bombers 5 in a row. Incredible swing either side of half-time for Essendon. Saligo first touch at the restart, pushes aside Durham and then caught, and then Goldstein kicks to centre half forward, no clean take. Ricochets back to Saligo. Still for Adelaide in the middle. Hand pass to Laird. His handball knocked down. Scrap on centre half forward for the Crows. Taylor knocks it out to Berry. Still with Adelaide. Hand pass to Dowling. He gives it off to Cook. Cook with the fresh legs drives it goalward, but he's offline. This is to the far side of behind, Adelaide by 7.
And Riley Thilthorpe, every right, just turning around. He wasn't being demonstrative about just saying,
was he
come on. He was a little bit, but he just had a 7-8 metre break on his opponent.
Easy. And for a set shot.
Yep.
Receive pressure for the Crows. Just starting to panic a little after they absolutely obliterated Essendon in the second term. Cook rises high right in front of the Bombers bench. Can't take the mark. And now they're off the Bombers. Guelphy. Caddy's involved again. He's kicked the last two and he might have set this one up. Langford marks. Tough angle. Inside 50.
Harry Jones wanted it open side of the ground, but now that it's all slowed down, go back and have the set shot.
Yep, they've plugged all the holes, the Adelaide Crows, in the defensive 50.
Very exciting, Caddy. He's turned 19 this week.
So Langford's going to have to back himself in here, and it's going to take a quality kick. He's 5 metres in from the boundary line in the left forward pocket, 40 metres out. So socks down, red boots on. He crosses the boundary line at the northern end. And now he crosses the arc of 50 from 48. He's a sharpshooter, and he absolutely loves it. He puffs out his chest. Langford with his second, and they close to within 1 after trailing by 36 points. It is a comeback for the ages, a significant surge from the red and black. We saw a massive comeback here earlier in the season when Collingwood came back from 48 points down at halftime against North Melbourne. And Essendon trying to do something similar here against Adelaide. 11-8-74 the Crows. 11-7-73 Essendon.
Just the efficiency of it is what I'm
Yeah, exactly. I'm just watching the Crows, though. I'm interested in what Tim says about what they're like on the bench. But some of them are just, the ones that, a couple on the ground are actually hobbling. They cannot get out of a... I've noticed Dawson's now going back to a half-back line, so that's maybe to keep him out of the hurly-burly in the middle.
A 1-point lead for the Crows. It was once upon a time 36 points. O'Brien palms it down, Laird's hand pass and turnover. He becomes tackler on Caldwell. Front edge of the centre square for the Bombers. Gresham gets boot the ball inside 50. Jones spills the mark, regathers, somehow got a kick away in the tackle. Caddy on the end of it, couldn't get boot the ball. Falls out the way of Nankervis. Now in the back pocket for Adelaide. Hits up Dowling, who takes the mark at left half back. Trying to slow it down for the Crows. That's not a great kick, but it turns out okay. Got through the Derry. Ripped hard to the ground in the tackle, and the tackler rewarded. Wealthy with the 1%er.
Well, there's a...
let's talk about that tackle.
Big tackle. Gave it to Redmond. Kicks looking for Caddy. Goes over his head. And Dowling rebounds for the Crows out of defensive 50.
Strong mark taken by Redmond.
That's the tackle we're talking about.
Redmond drives it long into the heart of the 50. Oh, standing his ground is Cox. He read that beautifully. 3 or 4 players jumped in the air and he stood his ground, and with strong hands above his head, he's taken a mark directly in front, 25 metres out.
So that tackle arguably more dangerous than Cameron or Bedford, and yet because it doesn't result in a concussion.
Or they're nervous. The umpires are nervous. They don't know.
100% correct, your description.
Adelaide kicked 8 straight to lead by 36 points. Nick Cox lining up for his second, but this would be 7 straight in reply to put Essendon back in front. Extraordinary drama under the closed roof at Docklands on Friday night footy. 12-7-79 Essendon, Adelaide 11-8-74. It's the Bombers by 5 points after many fans in the red and black here tonight have been doubting that they'd be able to get back in front.
What a quarter of footy. We were saying about Adelaide in the second quarter. What a quarter of footy by the Bombers. There's about 8 players from Adelaide have not touched the footy this quarter. Disposals, just simply how many times you've won the ball. 51 to Essendon, only 32 to the Crows. They cannot win the footy, and the occasional time that they do, they can't hold on to it. And the Bombers' pressure is excellent. It's turning the ball over. And then their efficiency when they're taking it forward, Mick, is just first class at them in this quarter for the Essendon.
10-4 inside 50s, Lenny. So, what do they scored? How many goals?
7 in a row.
7, yeah.
5 for the quarter, the Bombers. Adelaide yet to kick one in this turn. Back in the middle. Bombers on top. 4th lead change of the night. Shield got a hand pass out to Durham. Handball to the skipper. Merritt inside 50 to Caddy. Oh, spills it cold. Out on the lead at half forward. Keane mops it up for the Crows. Handball to Laird at half back. Dishes it off to Scholl. Handball through to Taylor. Hurried kick forward for the Crows. Out to half forward. Clever Murphy got rid of Dersma. Wins it. 60 out. Kicks inside 50. Knocked away by Mackay. Dangerous spot. Tackles Fogarty. Takes him to ground. And it was a goal-saving tackle at that. And a ball up 20 metres out from the Adelaide goal. Kicking to the Coventry end. Halfway through the third term. The Bombers in front by 5.
Can the Crows put a stop to 7 straight from Essendon? Goldstein knocks it out. Mackay picked it up. He was taken high. Somehow works its way to Kelly, who dumps it, and Scholl takes the uncontested mark. 55 out. Goes backwards to Nankervis, tries to get around Merritt, and does. Nankervis from 51 metres out, goes long. It's tapped back in play. It's in play, and Fogarty tried to get his toe to it before a desperate Laverty rushes it over.
They all stopped, Cal.
They did, didn't they? So, last 7 majors to Essendon. Essendon by 4 points halfway through the third.
Adelaide have changed, and they've only changed because of work ethic, of the real hard manning up. Essendon now finding that 20-30 metre mark, and they're advancing the ball down the ground.
Breather for Caddies. He hits the bench. Long kick from Ridley off the back flank up to Jones. Takes a towering mark, and all those players in the same section of the ground swing forward. Short kick to Shield. Hand pass to Dersma, running the boundary line, 70 metres out. Ugly kick inside 50. Made it tough for Stringer. Caught at the back, becomes tackler. Pack forms, umpire circles and says ball up. 45 metres out from the Essendon goal. Crows led this game by 36 points. Time on in the second term. Adelaide with 36 up. They're now 4 down. I'm no maths major, but that's a 40-point swing. From the baller, Keane for the Crows. Hand pass out to Taylor. Handball to Laird, handball to Nankervis, hand pass inside to Boyd. Now up defensive side of the wing. Gives it to Bond, rather. Gives it to Berry. Short kick to Fogarty. Fogarty's hand pass works it a little forward again to Murphy. Back to Fogarty. Trying to step around. Goldstein on the mark. He drills his pass down to half forward. Keys marks. Wants to go immediately. Player on the overlap, and it's Rochelle who takes the mark. Left forward pocket for the Crows.
Well, that's
Fogarty's kick.
Yeah, what, about a half a metre off the ground, like a rocket.
On his left.
On his left. And Essendon touched the ball from the half-back line. It's the first time for the quarter that's happened.
They've conceded the last 7 goals in the game, Adelaide, after leading by 6 goals themselves. Rochelle to settle it down, puts it through and puts the Crows back on top. Lead change number 5. Adelaide by 2 as we tick in the time on in the third term. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. The road team 12-9-81. Essendon 12-7-79. Mick Moldhouse and Cameron Ling on ABC Sport.
Yeah, can I ask a question of Timmy if you're listening in, Tim? Just what's the bench like down there for Adelaide, given that they've had so much pain in the first half and perhaps even to this quarter?
Yeah, well, Mick, Jordan Butts remains in the rooms. He returned for a short moment. So it's basically they played almost the entire first quarter a man down on the bench, and now they've played, 20 minutes in? They've played 15 minutes now with Jordan Butts in the rooms.
What's wrong with him, Timmy? What's he going in there for, you reckon?
No, not sure. So it looks... I think it was a knee, and then he came back, and then he went back to the room. So, look, they've just played so much of this match, a man down on the bench. So I think that's actually... I mean, you guys would know better than me, but it seems to be hurting them.
This match still very much up for grabs. So much at stake for the Bombers. Free kick in the ruck in the centre, and it's Goldstein who gives it off to Merritt. Merritt with the penetrating kick. Hinge tries to swat it down. Guelphy's there. He can't get a clear possession. Laird. Hinge. Great exiting kick. Finds Murphy at a half-back. He's got it on the dock side. He's just going to go back to Michael Annie. Retreats. Gives away a bit of ground, and Michael Annie goes down the dock wing. Kicks to a 1-on-2. One was Himmelberg. And 2 Bombers, including Ridley, who kills it over the boundary line.
The reason why I'm just ooey-ari, that all of a sudden the 15-metre kick is... And I get it. I think it's got to be 15 metres. That's the rule, but you'd like to think the 15 metres is actually rewarded.
Crows by 2 points. Incredible momentum swings we've seen so far. Adelaide with the last of the game. Laird at the stoppage, gives it to Dawson, kicks inside 50, it's out the back of the pack. Key sockers it to an unguarded goal square, needs a kite roll, he gets it! From about 25 out, Keys has socked through his fourth of the night. And Adelaide with a little bit more space on the scoreboard. The Crows by 8 points. And this game of runs continues. 22 gone third quarter. Essendon 12-7-79. Adelaide 13-9-87. They don't draw pictures on the scoreboard. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling. It counts for 6 and the Crows lead by 8.
He's an unusual player. He's had his term as in the middle. I still think he could go into the middle. But he's such a fighter on the forward line. You think he's an unlikely type of kick. He's a bit awkward. He's basically only got the one leg. He goes left foot all the time. But
massive work rate.
Unbelievable. That's why I suppose that he could still go back to the half into the midfield. But on the forward line, he's just at you all day.
So the Crows haven't quite silenced this largely parochial Essendon crowd. There's certainly lost a few decibels. Here they go out of the centre again. Through Berry. Berry thought about the handball. Instead he goes long, looking for Fogarty. And Himmelberg's opponent was Mackay going back and could take the mark. Shorts it to Caldwell. He flares the kick wide to Laverty.
Laverty's got on top back in the back half. He was a bit iffy early, but I think he's done very well.
Berry's going to mark this. Not quite in the end because of the pressure put down by Merritt. Ball to be won. Bombers are going to emerge with it. Redmond, quick hands off to Martin, off to Merritt, blitzing through the midfield. He crosses and kicks to Draper, who was on a lead, yet full forward and had a little bit of separation on O'Brien.
I reckon it's taken me a long time to work this out, but Adelaide are all duck and no dinner. They are just, if they get it, Bushka. That's why they kicked 11 goals in that passage, from first quarter to third quarter. But if they don't, Essendon had 3 players back to that pack. That's why they're able to take it away.
That was wide open.
Oh, shockingly. And it's happened time and time again.
Draper is lining up for his first goal of the night, directly in front to the northern end, 40 metres out. He enjoys it. He absolutely loves the celebration. He's had a bit of wiggle movement about it, I think. I'm not sure whether it was a couple of gunshots, bang, bang, or the wiggles, hooly-dooly. But anyway, you kind of get my drift. There's a bit of a difference there on a scale. Yeah. But Adelaide, their margin now is just 2 points because Big Draper's goal has eaten into that margin. Adelaide 13-9-87, Essendon 13-7-85.
Mick, just to piggyback your point, so from the Bombers' perspective, yes, you've got to win the ball first of all. So I understand it's got to start from that. But they've then got to be willing to go forward with the ball. That forward handball opened up exactly what you're talking about. If you take the backwards handball, the Adelaide players who are surging, trying to run forward and charge with, they can then bring some heat and some pressure on you. But if you go back through them, wide open.
Oh, terrible. I find it extraordinary.
You're a celebration man, Nick. Was it more John Wayne or Purple Wiggle?
Oh, I think it was a bit of John. When you wear your hair like that, it's probably John Wayne.
Kick inside the forward 50 from the Crows. They led it by 2 points. Essendon win it back though. Away Ridley to Shield. That's an ugly kick out towards half back. It's picked off though. Dowling has it. He's tackled by Cox. And a ball up high half forward for the Crows. Adelaide by 2.
How good is it to see footy fans out of their seat with their arms wide spread, calling ball.
O'Brien wins it down. Cox got a kick away, only as far as Dowling, trying to send it back inside 50 and does now for the Crows. Can they get a marker on the end of it? Hands to it, Himmelberg, no mark. Bobbles around Mackay. Works it through for Essendon. To Kelly against his old team. Kicks to a genuine one-on-one. Dawson and Menzie. Dawson spoils, favours Menzie. Menzie hand pass away to Kelly for the Dons.
Kelly stabs a pass out in front of Langford, who was running in front of his opponent, Michael Annie. Too far out to score, Langford. Fans are on their edge of their seat. Adelaide lead it by 2 points. 4 minutes to play in the third term. Langford's going to kick it deep. Martin's got the lead. He missed everything. Cox spins out of trouble and then spins into a tackle. And he's brought down.
High contact, they've said, Cal.
Oh, it's a free kick to Essendon.
Yeah, the second tackle they've said was high contact.
It was Hinge.
I think it was. It wasn't a smart tackle. It's too high.
He spins out of the first one, and it was a Bond, rather.
You can't headlock someone.
No, and then drive him into the ground.
Yeah.
So Bond has given away the free kick, the second game up, and he's given it to Nick Cox, who's already kicked a couple tonight. He's lining up for his third.
Left or right foot?
Left foot with his set shots.
Both his set shots so far have been left. Guys told us earlier tonight he's a right footer in and amongst the normal contest. 15 metres out, 45-degree angle, slots it over the goal umpire's head, and boy, does he enjoy a celebration. Nick Cox with his third, and Essendon back in front. They lead it by 4. 14-7-91, Adelaide 13-9-87, and less than 4 to play before three-quarter time.
I know it's about the here and now for the Bombers in this season because they want to be aiming for top 4. They want to win that final they've been searching for. We're also getting a little glimpse of their future too, of Cox and Harry Jones and Nate Caddy, those young, tall, athletic players who can play a combination of wing and, I think Caddy's going to be predominantly a forward, but Cox and Jones are going to both be forwards, but also wingmen. And from what I'm told from some coaches, that Cox might even end up going as an inside mid at times when his body gets there.
I think he's got a few grass burns here as well from that tackle from Bond. So he's got a bit of bark off his face. Nick Cox.
Oh, has he ever?
Yeah.
Ouch. That's sing in the shower.
That's lead change number 6. Essendon by 4 points as we tick towards three-quarter time. Shield got a hand pass out. Draper slides in, knocks it to the captain. Merritt stands up. Hand pass to half forward. Menzies sharp. Handball away to Shield. Kicks to centre half forward. Caldwell marks. Plays on. Another one for the Bombers. Caldwell on the run. Kicks it. And the Dons have taken flight. What a stunning turnaround in this game. A 46-point swing from 36 down to 10 in front. We've travelled 29 minutes in Q3. It's Essendon 15-7-97. Adelaide 13-9-87. Friday night on ABC Sport. Nick Oldhouse, Cameron Lynch.
I'm not a gambler, Nick. This is craps, isn't it? This is and there is an S on the end of that because this is just rolling the dice stuff.
Isn't it? Well,
both teams are going, hey, if we get it, we're going back through you a million miles an hour. And Adelaide are just leaving the corridor wide open for the Bombers.
So they both played heavy wet weather games off 6-day breaks. Any impact on what we're saying?
Well, not the way they're playing. What it is, it's actual setups. Like Adelaide is just, if you ever look at this next stop, it just, now they've got a sweeper in place, but he's actually manning something up.
He'll get sucked in.
Essendon by 10 points. Led. Had it. Lost it. Durham so good. Oh, the running ruckman. Draper. Bouncing ball, top of the goal square. Langford will get there first. He's in the right forward pocket. Dawson gets a crucial hand in there and sees it over.
So the sweeper is starting there about 5 metres off the centre circle. But he is getting so tied up to where the ruck contest is. Yeah. It's wide open out over the top of him.
Well, in and out of there's just no set up at all. They're just imagining they're going to win the stoppage. Well, it's not happening all the time.
Forward 50 stoppage for the Bombers. So Brian wins it down. Merritt inadvertently soccers it away to Dowling. Hand pass to Nankervis. He gives it to Cook. Back pocket. Kicks out of defence for the Crows. Towering marking attempt from Thilthorpe. Unsuccessful. Spills to Himmelberg. Crows still with it. Hand pass to Murphy. City wing. Kicks Adelaide down to half forward. 2-on-1. Fogarty, Kelly and Redmond all there. And in the end, it bounces off Kelly and out of bounds. A throw in half forward for the Crows.
Great kick.
The one thing I will say is when Adelaide do win it and they can get through with their boys, they're going to keep having opportunities to score themselves. The trouble is if they continue to allow Essendon to have whatever they want, they're going to be scored too much the other way against them.
There was the game just straight out of the stoppage.
Jones from half back. It was a high ball. It ricochets back to Jones. Kicks inside 50. There's no one there. Who's going to get there first? Menzies. He's surrounded by Crows. A murder of them, in fact. Caddy comes in, tries a little toe poke off the turf. And he's collided with a Crows player and put the Crows player down behind play.
Awesome, I think.
Is it? Meanwhile, the ball's gone over the boundary line inside 50 here for Essendon. And Dawson, Tim Hodges, he's been in the wars tonight. He's still down behind play.
Yeah, and I think he was struggling to get up anyway, let alone after a hit like that. So he's back on his feet at the moment. The doctor is out to him.
His head hit Caddy's hip
He's going to be a sore boy tomorrow morning.
Nick Murray, a left knee injury, subbed out at quarter time. And Jordan Butts, we haven't seen all quarter, so problems down back for the Crows. They've got issues around the ball, as Cameron Ling and Mick Moldhouse have outlined from the boundary throw-in. Then Curvis tackled out of bounds. We'll have another throw-in half forward for the Bombers. Hodgie.
Just on Jordan Butts, Corbin. So it's a left ankle, not a knee. He's had that re-strapped, but he's been sitting back on the bench for 6 minutes now. I think they're really only going to use him if they have to. They clearly know that ankle is not right. So, yeah, they are the walking wounded, unfortunately, the Crows.
Bombers by 10 points. O'Brien gets it down, and we're inside 50 here for the Bombers. Time ticking down to three-quarter time. O'Brien goes in hard again. Martin is tackled.
Sorry to jump in quickly. Serious about concussion. They should have the ability to stop the game from the bench and say, Dawson, come off the ground.
Absolutely.
He got smashed in the head before, and there's doctors out there waiting for their chance to get to him and want to bring him off.
And Curvis spins out of trouble across the half-back line, gives it to Keys, delivers to Fogarty. Fogarty handballs back to Keys. He dropped it. Cold miscommunication, and then the handball from the Bombers has been picked off by Fogarty. He gives it to Michael Annie. The Crows will go forward again. Through Shoal with a high ball. Phil Thorpe tried to get down low. Waiting at the back was Rochelle. Kelly desperate. Kelly does well. And look at the warm applause for the defender. They're standing up the red and black army. And warm applause for Kelly, who was desperate then in a one-on-one with Rochelle. Essendon by 9 points, a minute and a bit before three-quarter time.
Bombers might set a record tonight for most turnovers by hand. They've had so many clangers.
Both sides.
Handball.
Yeah.
Which, I get it by foot, high pressure game and everything else, but gee, they've turned it over, the Bombers, out of their hand tonight. Almost cost them a score there. Or it did cost them a score, almost cost them a goal. Just behind Essendon by 9 points, 33 gone third term. A shootout on Friday night footy. Redmond into the back pocket. The long kick down the line from Kelly is marked by Cox. One of their top 10 kicks. They got more of them than any other team in the league, Essendon. As the kick down to half forward, Draper. Velcro for hands, takes the mark in front of O'Brien.
Yeah, it's a very good mark. O'Brien, his job there was to punch the ball back.
Stringer hailing a cab, he's calling for it, he leaps forward, it's out the back, and it'll bounce all the way through for a behind. Off the boot of Draper, Essendon by 10. 33 and a half gone, quarter number 3. And the Bombers have flipped this game from 36 points down. They now lead it by 10 as we close in on three-quarter time.
In short set to Michael Annie, who's hunched over, sucking in the oxygen. Adelaide players look absolutely exhausted out there. Three-quarter time can't come quick enough. High ball punched away by O'Brien. And then tackled in there is Berry.
Oh my goodness.
He grabbed it, he got grabbed, and...
So it was Durham and Berry, and Durham wins the free, and Berry's not happy.
Nor is Lingy.
So Lingy wide, describe.
So he's been immediately tackled, so prior opportunity doesn't exist. What the umpire would be saying is you had one arm free to do something with it. But he's also getting spun. So effectively what the umpire is just saying is just throw your leg at it and I don't care if you drop it. Well, it's not right, because one, he could end up in a vulnerable position trying to swing his leg at it.
Get injured.
And get injured for it. And it's that one where it's been locked up. So just call it a ball up straight away. Blow the whistle, bang, ball up. Let's get the game started that way again. There was zero prior opportunity. Shouldn't be holding the ball.
So the margin, if you've just joined us, is just 10 points. Essendon lead. So it sounds like it's game on. 15-8-98, Adelaide 13-10-88. But the backstory is that the Crows led by as much as 36 points late in that second term. And in the third quarter, it was 8 goals to 2. The Bombers piled on 8 majors. And so they have got a pep in their step as they come in for the huddle. And the Crows look absolutely deflated at this point in time. So the margin, 10 points, 15-8-98 Essendon, Adelaide 13-10-88.
There wasn't too many areas of Australian life today that wasn't impacted by the global IT outage affecting institutions here and internationally due to a technical issue which related to the US-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. Now, CrowdStrike say they've identified, isolated and deployed a fix for an unprecedented outage that has affected computer systems worldwide. Now, the company says a defect has been found in a single content update for Windows hosts and that Mac and other hosts are not impacted. So for more information, abc.net.au if you want to find out a little more. It's been an extraordinary night. We started with Laura Kane, the EGM of footy, with us in the box. We've had wild momentum swings, and we got a game at three-quarter time with the Bombers up by 10 points. The thoughts of our legends here, Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse, coming up next on ABC Sport.
Looking for an easy way to find out what's happening in the world of sport? Stay up to date with the week's best sports stories, highlights and analysis with the ABC Sport newsletter.
Oh, that is amazing!
It's sports content to make you think or allow you not to. Delivered to your inbox every Saturday.
Game, set, bingo!
To sign up and get the latest sports news each week, head to abc.net.au/connect, scroll down and select ABC Sport. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Right on 50, doesn't go for home, he's going to set it up. Butts flew in front and dropped an absolute sitter. And the umpire says free kick, play on, advantage. Gresham strolls in and kicks it into the second tier.
The teenage sensation to give them a spark. Through it goes. And the building is jumping. The Bombers with 4 on the bounce and they're right back in this game. The Crows' 36-point lead is just 12 now.
The Crows are banged up as well. Jordan Butts just leapt off the ground straight down to the rooms. We know Nick Murray's already been subbed out. Rory Ladd has returned to the field after sitting on the spin bike for 5 or 6 minutes. We know the captain, Jordan Dawson, who is also on the bench now, is pretty banged up. So they're struggling, the Crows, to hold this momentum.
Nick Cox lining up for his second, but this would be 7 straight in reply to put Essendon back in front. Extraordinary drama under the closed roof at Docklands on Friday night footy.
They've conceded the last 7 goals in the game, Adelaide, after leading by 6 goals themselves. Rochelle to settle it down, puts it through and puts the Crows back on top.
He's given it to Nick Cox, 15 metres out, 45-degree angle. Slots it over the goal umpire's head, and boy, does he enjoy a celebration.
Stands up, hand pass to half forward, Menzie, sharp, handball away to Shield, kicks to centre half forward, Caldwell marks, plays on, another one for the Bombers! Caldwell on the run, kicks it! And the Dogs have taken flight.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Extraordinary night under the roof at Docklands. It was a game Essendon led by 19 in the first quarter. Adelaide led by 36 in the second term, and now the Bombers lead by 10 at three-quarter time. Just wild momentum swings all evening. Essendon 15-8 lead Adelaide 13-10. A 10-point advantage for the Bombers at three-quarter time. Mick Malthouse, Cameron Ling on ABC Sport.
Well, Lingy, we are the experts.
Sometimes.
And what have we been saying about the stoppages or the clearances? And I'll tell you what the numbers were that quarter. In favour of Adelaide.
Really?
And here we are, sprucing about how the back door was left open and Essendon walked straight through it.
I will only argue that perhaps the numbers might go Adelaide's way, but the ease and the dangerous ones went Essendon's way.
Yeah. Well, just for the listeners now, I'm not saying you don't know your football. We'll just try to explain. Well, Lingy spent most of his life there. I've coached a bit in there. That you've got. We say the two ruckmen, if they're going to go head to head, then behind them we'll call it 6 o'clock. In front and top we'll say 12 o'clock and 9 and 3. So you've got to see what you really want in centre square where you've got no assistance from wingers because they're 25 metres from you at half forward line. Is you want to have someone who's going to sweep for you and sweep and hold his ground so that if the opposition get through that first layer, then you can put a tackle on. A bit like if you're watching rugby, you got your fullback, etc. And what happened was, and Lingy said it, and we've been watching it, is that player for Adelaide is getting sucked right in underneath the ruckman, and all of a sudden you look behind, and the fair thing of it's like watching the Sahara or the Nullarbor plain. There's that much room there, you couldn't believe it. And when Essendon went through there, there was just no contest. So what you do then is you have a kicker who's able to pick his mark and have a shot or go short or whatever he wants to do. So if Adelaide are going to get back, they've got to put some defensive work in at these stoppages.
Yeah, close that door up and then at least force Essendon to kick over the top of you.
And they're not going to do it again. They're following in. It's Merritt's doing the job because he's going to run in and he's going to take with him his tagger. And there goes your sweeper.
The Bombers chasing a spot in September. Adelaide trying to shape it. Final term underway. Bombers by 10 points. O'Brien wins it down. Knocked out wide. Dersma hands it off to Merritt. Possession 27. Kicks inside the forward 50 for the Dons. Langford got there on the bounce. Knocks it away in front of Caldwell. Controls the footy. Wide out. 45 from home. Kicks to the goal square. Draper. The big Don floats through and takes the mark. Top of the goal square for Essendon.
What a great mark.
Great mark, wasn't it, Nick?
Oh, just clunk.
Pretty impressive from Jai Caldwell, the follow-up work, bodylined the ball, then he disciplined enough to hook it back to a dangerous part of the ground, but it still took something pretty special from big Sammy Draper. He launched at the footy and just made it his own, even with a player coming at him. Great grab.
South Australian native. Of course, he was a key player down the stretch the last time these two teams met in round 6. To establish the tone early in the last, Draper hits the post.
He's tried to kick that to Collins Street.
He was spitting distance from the goal line and whacks it into the post. Essendon by 11, 70 seconds into the last. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Corbin, the Crows are officially a man down now. Jordan Butts, the line has been put through him. It's officially a left foot injury, so he's not returning. We know Nick Murray subbed out of this game, so the Crows up against it to get back in this final term.
Yeah, that's a shame because he was playing pretty steady football.
So the Crows from the kick-in worked it to half forward before it was intercept marked by Redmond. He then conceded some ground back to Kelly and then kicked sideways to Martin, who's got it just at the top of the defensive goal square. The Crows got a little bit of fight. Can they rally and surge after kicking 8 straight in the second term? Martin tackled, Keys rewarded.
I don't mind that because he had an opportunity to handle.
Well, he's going to hand pass.
He did have prior opportunity. That's different to when there's no prior up.
He kicked 4 goals already tonight, has Keys. He's got it on the wing. He's delivering to the top of the goal square. Thilthorpe caught underneath it. Ridley tries to turn into trouble. He loses possession of it. Rochelli's putting the pressure on defensively. And the umpire says it'll be a ball up just a metre out from the goal line.
I reckon Ridley was very, very lucky there. That hand pass was a throw over his head. That was a bit of boundary umpire.
Bombers by 11, early stages in the last. Goldstein wins it down. Laverty got boot to ball. Dangerous spot though. 40 out from Adelaide's goal. Bouncing footy, collected by Nankervis. Turns in the tackle and a ball up. Centre half forward for the Crows. So that hurts the game as well. No key backs for Adelaide. Murray left knee, Butts left foot. Out of the match, and a banged up Jordan Dawson as well, but continuing for now. As from the restart, centre half back for the Bombers. Kick comes from Durham up to the wing. There's a free. It's going Draper's way for a hold.
Yeah, that's the trouble because Keane's stuck on him now and he's just out-pointing him, Draper.
Hand pass to Dersma. He kicks inside 50. Stringer goes the climb. No mark. Ball hits the deck, as does Stringer. Smith, hand pass to Hinge, kicks wide, and Draper flutters into the back of Keys. That one looked like it hurt Essendon win the footy. Draper got it to Dersma, gives it to Caldwell, kicks inside 50. Menzie, no mark, ball hits the deck. Crows try and clear. Turnover from Dawson. Langford's hand pass, back into trouble. Umpire circles, says ball up.
Wow.
Oh, that Lingy, the 2 number 2s. Draper with that big knee into the back of Ben Keys.
It was a silly kick by the Adelaide player trying to find him there.
Draper trots down and takes on O'Brien. O'Brien taps it down. Now the run of Martin. It's knocked out by Michaelani.
Yeah, you do love that from your ruckman when you get a chance just to put a knee, just sort of in that hip, buttock region of an opponent, just make it a little harder for them to run out the game.
Not after seeing Darcy Moore do it a few times.
Can you remember the worst one you got, Lingy?
I copped one right on the hip pointer a game against Sydney, and I reckon I couldn't go for the rest of the game. And about 3 days afterwards, I still wasn't walking.
Flick back in. Caldwell's concussed here. So the umpire blew his whistle. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, he did blow his whistle. It's coming back.
Well, there's
and
such
it's
confusion.
between Keys and Caldwell.
So Martin stopped and the umpire said, no, you took the advantage and told him to keep going.
And then there was a free kick for too high against Merritt afterwards.
So Merritt's going to take the free kick, but Caldwell's down behind play.
Yeah, Ben Keys
It was
just
a tackle.
continue on with the tackle, and given what we've seen, that is
that's
Yep.
if the others were 3 weeks for 4 days of this week, that's at least 3 weeks.
Yep.
So Ben Keys, who's been brilliant tonight with the 4 goals, will find himself under review for a dangerous tackle that's resulting in Caldwell coming to the bench. A little groggy. In the meantime, it's Zach Merritt, the skipper. Now, the guys told us in the pre-match, if you don't tag him, he's going to end up with 30 and a couple of goals. Well, he's got 27. He's launching from 50. He hasn't got the distance in him, and the mark taken by Dawson.
Well, they've tried to tag him tonight. There's going to be a free kick here. So Hinge was pushed over in the back off the play, and they're going to bring the ball back to him.
So Hinge gets it.
I thought it was 50 metres.
And he gives it to Dawson. And he delivers by foot to Bond.
Bond's the one who's tried to have the job on Merritt.
Yeah. Has it been a tag the entire game?
Yeah, he's tried to. He's doing it from half forward, so not in the centre bounces.
Right.
Which makes it hard, because then you risk Merritt getting going from the centre bounce.
Now Taylor's got it looking for Himmelberg. Hasn't had much of an impact on the game. Bombers run down. Keys with the tackle was good on Shields. Spills the way of Taylor. Now to Saligo. Can he find a target inside 50? He does. It's Fogarty, who kicked an absolute beauty from a similar spot in the second term to level up the game.
I reckon they look like they're out in their feet, Adelaide.
Yeah, they do.
I don't reckon that's because you've lost 2 players. You can cope with 3 on the bench.
No, they look absolutely gassed towards the end of the third.
Yeah, the Bombers are up on their toes.
Okay. So a goal here and draw it back to 5 points. Fogarty. He is the sharpest shooter of all. He hasn't done it once, but he's done it. No, he still wants. It was touched right on the line. So the margin is now Essendon by 11 points. Let's get down to Hodgie.
Plenty happening here. So the Crows are down now to 2 on the bench. Jordan Dawson has come off and they've taken him down to the rooms. He is so sore. I'm not sure he can keep going for the rest of this game. Come back to me for the Bomber news, Cal.
Tonta away, taken by Durham. He's off and running. 2 bouncers, sweeping hand pass inside to Gresham. Slip hands to Langford. Swings his kick. 1 half forward, flank to the other, overcooks it. Jones has to go back and chase it. Close to the boundary line. He's got Cook for company. Knocks it out of play. And a throw in 55 out from the Essendon goal. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie.
The sub has been made as well for Essendon. So Archie Perkins is into the game, and this is not good news for Ben Keys because Jai Caldwell has been taken downstairs for a HIA. So according to what Laura Kane told you guys pre-match, that's a 3-game suspension coming Ben Keys' way, isn't it?
Well, that tackle from Keys is one that, I think needs to be gone, because he did continue it on, did smash him into the ground. It's different to last week's conversation.
Okay, talk about that maybe in the post-match, because there's another dangerous tackle that's in the spotlight. In the meantime, McGrath's chopped it off. Oh, he's looking for Langford, who went up on the step ladder up the back of his opponent in Nankervis. In the meantime, trying to keep it in is Draper, slipping and sliding in the right forward pocket before Jake Stringer puts a bit of pressure on the Crows players. He wants the free for deliberate, Jake. It's not forthcoming. Margin is 10. Essendon lead it. 14 minutes to play. But Essendon with all the momentum.
28 goals in 3 quarters. We've gone 8.5 minutes without a goal in this final term. What has been a shootout on Friday night. Big momentum swings either way from the boundary throw-in. Comes down to Dowling. Hand pass back in dispute. Merritt got it out for Essendon. Upstairs. Free kick. It's coming back to Merritt after he shoots out a hand pass. The Adelaide player got him in the back, and the umpire says it's a free kick. It's going to the Essendon skipper. 35 out, dead in front.
It's smart by Merritt. He almost did the diving handball out of the pack.
Yeah.
So it helped add to the push in the back. But an Adelaide player did land on his back. He just tried to dish it out to Dylan Shield. You'd think Zach Merritt from here will just go back and nail it. He's fought through the tag pretty well, even though Hugh Bond's only in his 2nd game. Merritt's worked him over.
In the captain's spot, a big-time goal in the game. Merritt puts it through. Playing the footy of his career, Zach Merritt, and Essendon are out by 16. 10 gone in the final term. The Dons 16-9, 105. Adelaide banged up 13-11-89. The Bombers by 16. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling.
Mick, this might seem like a shot at Hugh Bond, and I'm not trying to make it that way. But I find it strange that the best option Matty Nicks and Adelaide could come up with to tag one of the best players in the competition is a kid in his second game of football.
Yeah, well spot on. That's what we spoke about pre-game. Where would they pluck the player from? What would he be? Has he got the endurance? Has he got the mental aptitude to be able to run with a player all day? You're tagged.
The smarts, the decision making.
And you're in your second game, and you're up against. It's.
So Essendon back out by 16. Will they run away with it in these final 16 more minutes? Perkins into the action. Started as the sub, but he's tackled, so it'll be balled up on the edge of the centre circle. Goldstein flicks it back, looking for Durham. Instead, it's Berry that pounces on it, gives it off to the run of Michaelani, dashing off half-back. He delivers over the head of Rochelle. Fogarty's there, handballs into space. Rochelle cuts back the angle on his left, and he misses everything. No, he just squeezes it in fact, for a minor score. He's been out of form a bit, Rochelle.
Yeah, he hasn't kicked on as much as I thought he was going to do.
Third season. He has got that leg heavily strapped. Essendon by 15 points.
McGrath gets the kick out up against the boundary line, and he's knocked out a play by Taylor, so we'll have a boundary throw-in. Jai Caldwell is off having a concussion test. He's been subbed out of the game after a tackle from Ben Keys. He looked at, no doubt, by the match review officer. Not sure the arms were pinned, but did have concussive force at the angle. He was headed towards the boundary from the throw-in here. Spills to Keys. He's taken high. And all of a sudden, urgency and desperation belongs to the Crows, and Keys is wasting no time going back to have a quick shot.
He's going to lay that off. I don't know why. He's only 40. He's kicked from, what do he kick from 45 metres? But he's good for that.
Well, he teams have scored tonight too. There's still 12 minutes on the game.
Yeah. But they look like they're just getting over the line, Adelaide.
There's a bit of urgency, but there's still time. He just needs to kick it. Keys delivers on the promise. He's got one for the thumb. A bag of 5 for Ben Keys. And Adelaide is still in this game. A dozen minutes gone, final turn. Essendon 16-9-105. Adelaide 14-12-96. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Just repeating the news of the day after the global IT outage. CrowdStrike, the US-based cybersecurity firm responsible for it, says it's identified, isolated and deployed a fix for the unprecedented outage that affected computer systems worldwide. More information through the ABC website.
He's been outstanding, because you always know he's going to have a crack at. You know he's not going to. He can run all day. He might be awkward. He's tough, and
he's had a great game. I mean, he might be missing a couple of weeks after this, but he's still kicked 5 goals, and as you said, worked incredibly hard.
Still playing with energy when some of his teammates look a little energy sapped.
Draper's had a great game too. When you analyse that against O'Brien, who probably in the top 3 or 4 ruckman a couple of years ago, he's dropped right off. But Draper has certainly set him up.
So is this guy. Draper flicked it behind him to Durham. Durham takes a bounce, and then he delivers beautifully to Langford. Took a little bit of a hanger in the air in front of Michaelani. Then Curvis, in fact. And that was sizzling football from the Bombers.
Yeah, brilliant by Durham. And that's what Kyle Langford over the last couple of years has impressed so much in his game. Yeah. He was a sort of an in-between player. Was he a mid? Not really. Was he a bit of a half forward? Ground level's good, but not great. But now that he's good at ground level, plus he can mark the ball like that and smart on his lead, that's how you end up with the 40 and 50 goal seasons that he's having.
And that's right. He becomes their main forward.
45-degree angle, 30 metres out.
That's rare for him.
Shank off the laces, misses everything, out of bounds on the full. He pushes it across the face.
Well, that's really strange because he is a very active kick. Having said that, he does. It's when they play the better sides, he does come up against a player who's taller than him and as quick as him. So that's going to be the difference in the finals, whether he can get the right target.
Dowling marks the kick out. Essendon by 9 points. Long kick for Adelaide up the wing. Spills to Keys. Handball to Laird. He's tackled down by Perkins. Says holding the ball.
Just been straight in his hands and he's gone.
Jeez. That's a hot whistle. Perkins free kick. She's a walking wounded on the Adelaide bench. Dawson off the ground. He's banged up. Butts is done for the night. Murray's done. And Caldwell having a concussion test after a heavy tackle from Ben Keys earlier in the quarter. We're halfway through the last. The Bombers have shifted the ball from the City wing to the Dock side.
That exact tackle there, if Laird swings his boot at it, then it's a high-risk tackle.
Dersma puts Essendon inside 50. Draper reaches for it, no mark. Hits the deck, 50 out from the Bombers' goal. Cox hands it away to Gresham. Shoots Goldwood, Cooks back, takes the saving mark. Last line of defence, Essendon by 9 points. 15 gone, final term. It's a huge 4 points in the context of Essendon's season, and the Crows trying to upset the apple cart.
Cook's got it from full back, and he's kicked straight to the opposition. It's Mackay, whose handballing has been a little awry at times tonight. His hands are safe. He takes a good contested mark, and then he bangs it straight back to the top of the goal square. Caddy couldn't take it. Spinning around in a 360 is Langford. Salee goes there. He handles backwards to Cook, who's got it last line of defence. Puts it out in front of his teammate Dowling, who can run onto it, trap it, and then kicks beautifully down the line. Marked by Fogarty, out in front of Redmond.
Well, he has to wait because he's got no troops behind him. He has to go sideways. Essendon had 2 behind the ball.
Marks on the City wing, brings it back into play. Now Dowling with the thumping kick inside 50, looking for Thilthorpe. Couldn't take the contested mark, and he's surrounded by players in red and black. McGrath getting involved and kicks sideways to the top of the defensive goal square, where Mackay's got it.
Thilthorpe had his hands on that one. I just reckon he's just getting a little tired now. Only second game back.
Only played a quarter last week, Lingy, as he started as the sub.
Just getting used to that pace and intensity of full AFL games. It's a big step. We expect them to just be able to come straight in, but it is a huge step.
So Laverde thumps it long down that City side. Draper, he went for the bump on O'Brien and was probably lucky he missed him. Could have done some damage. Dowling, the Crows handballing it around, trying to get out of strife here. It was a hospital handball from Laird. Sold Michael Annie into all sorts, and Gresham tackled him.
Well, that's a classical one where he's taken 2 steps, got caught, didn't get rid of it correctly. There's the free kick.
Wasn't paid, instead it's a ball up.
I don't know anymore, Mick.
Up it goes, comes down towards Shield, he kicks in the middle of the ground, and Caddy takes the mark. 9-point lead for the Bombers, 17 gone, final turn. Essendon heading inside 50 again to Langford. Swatted away at the back by Keane. Ball hits the deck. Langford's onto it. Hand pass away to Martin. It's tackled. Ball comes out. Nice work, Perry. Crows win it. Nankervis. Hand pass away to Scholl. Back the other way for Adelaide. Kicks into the centre square. Ball hits the deck. Draper tracking it. Ball bounces to the favour of McGrath. 1-2 with Shield, and the Bombers can settle it down again. The hand pass away to Redmond on the broadcast wing.
And he takes a bounce. He takes the second, the South Australian, and then he stabs the pass wedge, the kick up to Cox. Nick Cox, who's been great. I think he's kicked 3 tonight. He's delivering into that right forward pocket. Caddy was the target. It's swatted down. Handball out wide, too wide for Durham. And over the boundary line. So it'll be tossed back in inside 50 for Essendon. They lead it by 9 points. 7 and a bit to play. And Tim Hodges on the boundary for us.
Unbelievably busy night down here. Matt Guelphy off the ground straight to the rooms for the Bombers. And just an update, Jordan Dawson, he went down to the rooms. It's a HIA test, which I think will make Lingy really upset because he was the one calling for him to come off straight after that injury.
Stoppage goal. Is it coming up? It is. Outside of the beat from Gresham. It'll be tough to really nail the Dons. A second for Jade Gresham. And at the 19-minute mark of the final term, the Bombers are 3 goals clear. They lead by 15 points. 17-9, 1-11. Adelaide banged up 14-12, 96. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Cameron Ling, Mick Malthouse.
Again, just the open part of the stoppage, yeah. The where the sweeper would be, corridor side. Just some of your real fundamentals of stoppage work, trying to cover. If at worst the opposition has to go out the back and a big feed out the back and they're kicking from further from goal and over the top, you can live with that occasionally. Not ideal, of course, but you can live with it. On this occasion, it was corridor straight through the middle. It was a superb kick by Gresham, don't get me wrong. But that's been the theme all night. The Bombers have been able to exit their stoppages really easily at times.
At the 25-minute mark of the second term, it was Adelaide by 36 points. Now it's Essendon by 15. The Crows are going inside 50. Here's a chance for Fogarty. fires out the handball, gives it to Bond, to Laird, back to Fogarty off a couple of steps. He's got a bit of space. He goes the snap around the shoulder. He's got it. Oh, they're not going to die wondering. With some late swings, they're throwing. And it's back to 9 points. Fogarty kicks his third. 17-9, 111 Essendon. Adelaide 15-12, 102. 9 points the margin. There's still plenty of time to play here.
Well, it seems that way, Cal, but when you're being right here and watching it,
feels like it's all over, doesn't it?
Well, what's happening when the ball comes out of the centre, Adelaide are pushing back into the back half, and that's a sign of I don't have to do as much running. I'm going to save getting thrashed because their forward line is dysfunctional. And the only reason why they scored that was because they got the ball out and they still had 6 forwards forward of the ball. You watch, if this ball falls into Essendon's part, Essendon will have 1 or 2 behind the ball, and you can't score against Essendon when you haven't enough forwards.
Still 6.5 minutes on the game clock. O'Brien wins it down and then follows up, gets a kick out to Murphy, punched away from him, buries onto it for the Crows. He steps around Cox between wing and half forward, hand pass forward to Cook. Kicks inside the forward 50. Fogarty across the front of the pack. No mark. Hits the deck and Ridley's there to settle it down for Essendon. He kicks wide to Menzies in a one-on-one. Pushed into it by Dowling and takes the mark at half back. So Dawson off the ground having that head injury assessment. What do you reckon about that, Wingy? He called for a look earlier and now he's having a concussion test.
Yeah, there was about, 3 minutes to go in the third quarter was when he should have been taken from the ground to have that HIA.
Kick from Menzies picked off. O'Brien, hand pass to Smith, heads back down to half forward for Adelaide and a turnover.
I'm all for, of course, getting it right at any time, eventually if it takes that little bit longer. But that one was pretty clear that he should have been removed from the ground straight away. And he was trying to stay there and defend because his team was under the pump. So maybe a mechanism where the game can be stopped. Someone on the bench calls it, emergency umpire, bring him from the field, let him get that assessment straight away.
Tense final 5 minutes for Essendon fans, trying to will their team to a win here and a step closer to September. But it's the Crows that have got the response. They've got the ball, they've got possession. Dowling sends it inside 50. Essendon retreats through Kelly. Ball in dispute now. Fogarty, umpire blows his whistle, says free kick to Essendon.
Well, that's the same one we saw about 2 minutes ago, but it was called play on.
But so what I don't understand there is he actually tried to kick
it. Yeah.
So again, to repeat myself, if there's no prior opportunity, all you have to do is try and kick or handball. It doesn't matter if you drop it, by what the rules say. So it can't actually be paid holding the ball.
Well, McGrath was rewarded that. He went sideways to Laverde, who went long down the line and off to Spoil over in front of the Crows bench.
Well, I feel a little bit for Himmelberg. He's a player that he never got anything in the forward line given to him, and they sat on top of his head. He couldn't mark those. Now he's been pushed to, where is he going?
Full-back.
Full-back, yeah.
8 disposals for Himmelberg.
Bombers by 9 points, 23 gone in the last. O'Brien won it down, then followed up. Tackle, holding the ball.
I know the tribunal tackles overshadowed everything, but this has been a theme all week. That shouldn't be paid holding the ball because he didn't have prior opportunity.
Draper gets the free, kicks to half forward. Langford clever, spoils from the back down to Menzies. Hand pass in front of Caddy, snaps on the run but misses everything to the near side. Keane giving chase. He had more time than he thought, Nate Caddy. No score. Essendon by 9 points. Game still on. 23.5 gone final term. Friday night footy right here on ABC Sport.
Oh, a rush of blood. Caddy could have closed it out just about. Desperate from Jones with the spoil. And it meant that the ball went over the boundary line, so it'll be thrown back in, still inside 50. Soligo couldn't take the mark.
Just waited for it, Soligo,
yep.
Unfortunately.
And Jones was coming late. Flick back in, O'Brien straight down to Soligo. Great smother. That was Caldwell, I think. And Perkins, rather. Then they eventually get the kick out. Smith's going to get caught. He gets his handball away just in time to Laird. Over to Keys. Long bomb inside 50. Here's a chance for Cook. Thilthorpe's there on the left. It would have to take the most miraculous snap, and of course it doesn't. Instead, it's out of bounds on the full. Thilthorpe on his left as he was pushed off balance. Couldn't produce something spectacular. Essendon still by 9, and Essendon in possession, last line of defence.
Kick from Ridley, to the pack at half-back, punched away by O'Brien close to the boundary line, and in the end, young Taylor sees it out. The last time these two teams met, Essendon led by 21, fell 19 behind and came back to win it by 3. Tonight, they led by 19, fell 36 behind, and are 9 points up with the game on the line, 25 gone final term, against an Adelaide team with 2 on the bench. For the boundary throw-in, Keys comes moving through. He's been enormous tonight. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Offhand spills to Fogarty. Fogarty goals! It's a whole new game. There's just one kick in it with 3 minutes 18 left on the clock. Essendon by just 3 points. The Bombers 17-9, 111. Adelaide will not go away. 16-12, 108. They're here to win. Friday night footy on ABC Sport. Mick Moldhouse, Cameron Ling, Fogarty with his 4th.
Ben Keys is the single reason why, because he hasn't stopped under any circumstance. He's got the big knee in the back here by Draper. Where everyone else looks tired, looks like it's the 4th quarter, he's still on top of the ground. Yeah, and if you're going to do it, this is where he should be in the middle. I'm not sure if he's in the middle.
Yep, he is, Mick.
But that's where they've got to keep him, Adelaide, because he will keep running. I know Merritt will and these sort of blokes.
He's alongside Merritt. This all-important centre bounce. Essendon by 3 points, 3.5 to play. O'Brien, Durham, breaks clear. Trying to tackle desperately was Keys, but he couldn't get him. Michael Annie's got it, though. Gives it off to Nankervis, streaming off half-back. His kick delivers to Bond. The young pros combining there under the pump. Can they snare one here late? Goes high. In the Thilthorpe direction. Couldn't take the mark, but he might receive the handball. Snaps on the left. Oh, he could have given it to Keys. Yes. Keys was there and he would have had his 6. Look at him calling for it. No, and instead he pushed it and missed it. And it's 1 point, Mick, which means Essendon leads by 2.
Yeah, I just reckon it would have been a really tough hand pass to give, given the size plus the number of games he's played. It's a unique game where you need that bit of touch.
Less than 3 minutes to go. Bombers by 2. Adelaide with momentum. McGrath up to the wing. But Menzies outmarked. Michael Annie's got it. 70 from home. Puts Adelaide back inside. Thilthorpe hits up, no mark. Ridley knocks it away. Live footy inside the attacking arc for the Crows. Keys got it out to Fogarty. Keys a second time. Hands a hand pass out to Dowling. He's bowled over. Fogarty stands up with the footy. Tackled. And a ball up 40 metres out from the Adelaide goal. Essendon by 2 points. 27 minutes travelled final term. Forward 50 stoppage for the Crows.
Flicked out of there by the Bombers. Stringer and Himmelberg. Stringer first, then Himmelberg. And Stringer tackles him to the ground. Boundary throw, a ball up rather. A couple of metres in, half forward here for the Crows. 2 minutes to play. It's Essendon by 2 points. They're desperate for the 4 points as they creep closer to September. But instead, it's Dowling, Billy, and a mark taken by the Bombers in Langford, who's gone all the way down back and taken an important defensive mark after kicking a couple tonight for Essendon.
The Bombers really derailed and bumped Adelaide's season earlier in the year on that last gasp victory. Can Adelaide return the favour? O'Brien marks the exiting kick, gives it to Butts. Keane kicks back inside the forward 50. Ball hits the deck. Pack forms. Umpire says ball up. As Rochelle's locked up 40 metres out from the Adelaide goal. It was Adelaide surging late in that game. It's Adelaide with all the momentum late here. Bombers by 2. Forward 50 stoppage for the Crows. O'Brien wins it down. Fogarty trying to pick it up. He's tackled. Got it out to Rochelle. Hand pass to Keys. Fumble close to the boundary line. It's out of play. And a throw in left forward pocket for the Crows. They look threatening. There's a minute 22 to play. Essendon by 2 points. Boundary throw in inside the forward 50 for the Crows.
And led by as much as 36 just before half-time, Adelaide. And then 7 in a row to the Bombers. Here we go. O'Brien in front to Bond. Bond's handball. Bunted away by Keys. He couldn't take it cleanly. Little toe poke by Perkins. Himmelberg ducked his head and then he runs into 2 Bombers. Umpire says ball up. Ball up at half forward here for Adelaide.
Drive your head like that, that's pro opportunity.
Draper down to Durham. Fresh airy to Keys, who's been the match winner so far. He goes inside 50. No one can take a mark. Here's a chance for Rochelle. Oh, Rochelle! He's going to do a lap of honour. 2 points. 27 minutes. 2 points. 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 2 poin in the final moments here.
Well, one thing you can't do, Kel, with a 6-6-6, coaches have to sit on their hands. You know, yesteryear you'll be able to put a couple of players back, so this will be very interesting where you start your winger, Lingy. So I would have my both wingers right on the point, and your half-forward line just stream straight up to that half-forward line, and then you get your wingers in behind the play.
Get them in behind if you can. It was your man Ben Keys again there, Nick.
Oh, he's just been outstanding, Ben Keys. Outstanding.
36,020 on the edge of their seat. A Friday night cliffhanger on ABC Sport. Crows lead it by 4 with 52 seconds to play. Here's Corbin Middlemass.
Lead change number 7. Draper down to Merritt. Bursting out of the middle. Kicks looking for Caddy. Knocked away. Falls down to Martin. Snaps goalward. Getting back. It's punched through. Goal saver from Hinge.
Wow.
Oh, out of the centre.
Yeah.
Again, Adelaide have just... They've given him the key as well, not only the door.
Adelaide by 3 points. 37 seconds to go. Crows with the kick out.
Hinge off a step or two. He goes long. Draper launches himself. Berry takes Redmond off the ball. Redmond wanted the free kick. Umpire says no, and the Sharon's gone over the boundary line. So it'll be a ball in half forward here for Essendon with 27 seconds to play. Not too many bums on seats. They're all out of them under the closed roof here at Docklands. Toss back in. It's Draper and O'Brien. Neither win it in the air. Durham at ground level. McGrath. The tap was sensational to Stringer to the top of the goal square. Caddy goes without it, and they're going to rush the behind. Adelaide rushes the behind. Adelaide leads it by 2 points with 12 seconds to play. It's been a freaky Friday wherever you've been in the world. At times, these two teams have been working as good as a Windows computer this evening. It's Adelaide by 2 points.
And they return the favour against the Bombers from earlier in the year. Long kick from Smith that's punched out of bounds. High half forward for the Bombers. And the clock stops with just a couple of ticks left on it. Adelaide by 2.
Crowd's fallen silent, Corbin. They're shocked.
Boundary throwing. High half forward for the Crows. O'Brien swats it down. Siren! And it's the Crows who get to celebrate on the road. Well, for the Bombers, their September plans are still most uncertain. Adelaide by 2 points.
We're known as the Adelaide Crows. We're courageous, stronger, faster, and respected by our foes. Admiration of the nation, our determination shows. We're the pride of South Australia. We're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
The only other time the Crows have played here this season, they were trailing time on in the final term. They kicked the last 3 goals of the game to beat the Blues. The exact same thing happened tonight. The last 3 in the match, 2 of them to Darcy Fogarty and Ben Keys enormous. 7 lead changes, wild momentum swings, and when the final siren went, it was the Crows on top by 2 points. Adelaide 17-13, 1-15. They beat Essendon 17-11, 1-13 in a high-scoring Friday night shootout with just 2 fit bodies left on the bench. The Crows a famous victory at Docklands.
The mighty Adelaide Crows. Yes, the pride of South Australia. We're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
Doesn't nearly tell the story tonight. Essendon the first 3 goals in the opening 10 minutes, and then Adelaide took over. They kicked 11 of the next 13 goals in the game, including a 17-minute burst in the second quarter where they kicked 8 goals in that 17-minute surge. And as a result, they led by 36 points themselves. They gave that advantage straight back. Either side of half-time, Essendon kicked 7 in a row. The Bombers led by 16 points early in the final term, but the Crows finish over the top. They kicked 4 of the last 5 goals in the game. And after 7 lead changes, a lead of 36 points one way, 19 the other. In the end, at full time, it's the Crows getting home, courtesy of a late winner for Josh Rochelle. As you called Kelly beautifully in the moment, the James Hurd moment, as he hugs the Adelaide fan in the front row. And the Crows pull off a stunning victory to put a little bit of a speed bump in the Bombers' road towards September. The Crows by 2 points.
Topsy-turvy, hurly-burly, freaky Friday. The world nearly ended today if you were a technician and IT person. Cameron Ling and Mick Malthouse, how do you possibly explain in a sentence or two or sum up what we've just seen for the last 2 hours?
Well, I honestly thought that once Essendon got in front, the Adelaide, the defence was, we'll just fall back because we just can't go. Our legs are gone. Essendon had 2 players in behind the ball when the ball was up in their forward line. Anything that was going to come out was going to go back. But this, again, it was one of the stoppages when, again, in this case, Essendon just left it open. Adelaide flew out, got an easy one in there, got a quick goal. All of a sudden you look at the scoreboard and you go, I only need 2 goals. 2 goals with 3.5 minutes, it was. And then they got that goal from Keys, was it? Keys, second last goal from Keys?
Fogarty.
Fogarty. It felt like the last 10 minutes, it was the sheer willpower of Ben Keys and Darcy Fogarty.
Absolutely.
That got them over the line.
Yeah, and there's a couple of backline players there I thought were very, very solid, just when you needed them. Berry was okay.
Dowling had a couple of moments.
Dowling, yeah. But
you're right. It was Keys and
Keys was outstanding. Keys was outstanding,
and he
all
won't
night.
play for probably the next 3 weeks.
Well, let's not spoil for Adelaide.
No, sorry.
But really, it was just an Essendon just seemed like once they'd woken up and found out that they were in front, it was almost like, well, how much? What are they going to win by? Because Adelaide seemed to, I think their setups were poor. They couldn't exit their back line, their forward line. Well, it just didn't even get in there.
It was a remarkable game in that it was so high scoring and incredible attacking play. Some beautiful ball use at times from both teams. I think both teams, if you were to really closely look at it, would think, well, hang on, our stoppage setups at times were just poor. Some of our defensive mechanisms just broke down considerably. But for a high-skilled attacking game, very, very entertaining. Very entertaining. Now, I'm with you, Mick. I love all sorts of footy. I'm not saying it's got to be high-scoring to be good. Not saying it's got to be low-scoring. But a game like that occasionally is really entertaining to watch, where you get big momentum swings, superb ball use at times, some great goals, some great snap goals, all of that. I think when it came down to it, who was going to poke their nose in front, it was the heart and willpower of a couple of individuals for the Crows who got them there. And Essendon didn't have, apart from probably Zach Merritt and Durham throughout, they didn't have the other one to just grab it and go, no, this is mine. I thought Merritt was going to do it at the end. I actually thought he was going to have another bounce, run to 50 and kick the goal and just say, I've got this. Instead, he chose to pass it and it didn't quite come off perfectly. It was a good night at the footy.
I cannot remember the last time I'd watched so many goals come out of stoppages. I love to see the stoppage goals, but they were clean because there was very little, and I'm talking about the major ones in centre square stuff and around, where the doors were just left wide open. There didn't seem to be any communication to say, I'll sweep, you go to the hit zone, I'll take the opposition's hit zone. We'll get a winger in to make sure that there's no feedback. It defied logic, and I reckon the high score come from most of those.
It's funny, the clearances were basically the same, 41 to 42.
Well, that's enough though.
Yeah,
41 to 42. 41 to 42. So turnovers were roughly about 60 odd.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't scores. That was total numbers of clearances.
Numbers, right? Okay.
Yeah. But the ease of the clearances at times.
It was just bizarre.
Was the thing.
How good are these victories on the road? It's been a tough year for Adelaide. They've lost a lot of close games. It's really a lost season. They've got Matthew Nicks for another 2 years after this. They thought they'd be absolutely in finals contention. They're not, and yet they're trying to make it shape September and make it tough for a few teams on the run home. They were ready to walk off the ground in front of the race, and they spotted all the Adelaide fans that have made their way down to the advertising hoardings, and the group split up again to go and thank each of them in the red, blue and gold flags which waved behind the goals at the locket end and celebrating with their supporters. Adelaide winning a high-scoring clash. Josh Rochelle, the hero at the end, kicking the go-ahead goal, and the Crows get home by 2 points. So Adelaide 17-13, 115 defeat Essendon 17-11, 113. Amazing symmetry with the scoring pattern. So I just went through it. If you're a numbers nerd and you like these kind of things, Bombers kicked the first 3 goals. Adelaide kicked 11 of the next 13. The Bombers responded with 11 of the next 13 themselves, back the other way. And Adelaide kicked the last 3.
Wow.
So it just flipped.
Wow.
Completely.
Is that a palindrome of numbers?
I think it would be somewhere. I'm not exact. I think you're right. Ben's giving me the thumbs up.
Yeah. And in that, the Crows kicked 8 straight, and then Essendon hit back with 7 straight.
Wow.
Incredible. What an amazing night. The goal kickers, Keys kicked 5. He was sensational for Adelaide and set up that last goal for Rochelle. 4 for Fogarty, 3 for Rochelle, 2 for Phil Thorpe. So there's a fair bit of their future, those last 3. Singles in the end for Zach Taylor and Billy Dowling. And this is all despite a foot injury for Butts, a knee injury for Murray, subbed out early, a concussion test late for Dawson, so they only had 2 fit players on the bench. While for the Bombers, Nick Cox kicked 3, 2 for Caddy, 2 for Gresham, 2 for Langford, and 2 for Jones. What might have been kind of night for Essendon, Draper, Caldwell, Merritt, Durham, Stringer and Redmond, all with 1 each. Meanwhile, Jai Caldwell subbed out of the game after having a concussion test in the final term. Let's get into the winners' rooms. The Crows by 2. Tim Hodges. Hodgie.
Oh, Corbin, this is unreal being in here. I reckon there was probably only about 400 people here at the stadium barracking for the Crows. I reckon most of them are in these rooms. The hero for the Crows, Josh Rochelle, I'm glad to say, is going to join us on ABC Sport after this song. But there's just sheer delight, jubilation. I mean, it feels like a big finals win, this. So they're going to celebrate like you would not believe. Murphy's the last in, and here it is, the Crows song.
Fly of South Australia, we're the mighty Adelaide Crows. We're greater, stronger, faster, and respected by our foes. Admiration of the nation, and determination shall go. We're the pride of South Australia, we're the mighty Adelaide Crows.
Everyone in these rooms, I mean, it's almost tears. They're so happy. An unbelievable feeling. So I'll bring you Josh Rochelle just in a couple of moments, guys. We're just waiting to see whether they'll go into the rooms with Matthew Nicks or whether they'll bring Rochelle to us, but I'll have him for you very soon.
How good's that? Can't wait to chat to Josh Rochelle. The man of the moment kicks the match winner on a Friday night in a game which looked lost for Adelaide. 16 down, start of the final term. They still trailed by 15 points, by the way, at the 22-minute mark of the last quarter. Kicked the last 3 goals of the game, 2 to Fogarty, and then Rochelle, the match winner, the Crows by 2 points.
How do you reckon Taylor Walker was going watching that on the couch at home in the final minutes? He was managed tonight, so missed the trip. But, yes, that would have been a tough one for him to watch.
The forward line functioned very, very well without him.
Didn't do too badly, did it? They've got a big call to make.
Yeah, they do, because they need to look to their... Effectively, and you know this better than anyone, Mick, when their position on the ladder is what it is this year and the season hasn't panned out the way they wanted, they need to look to their next premiership team.
Yeah.
Not just play players who perhaps even deserve a spot, and Tex Walker does on form, but it's, okay, what is our next premiership team going to look like? So it's games into Thilthorpe, which he's an obvious one, but Himmelberg, it's Fogarty taking on more of a role and more responsibility. And so you sometimes need to make a really tough call and say he's not part of our next premiership team, so therefore let's take the little hit now to get the game and the structure and the leadership and everything into these other players.
And they'll go in next week with definitely players injured. That today you would almost suspect that most of those players that were injured today won't play next week. They may or may not lose Keys. I hope not.
I think for that one he will.
Yeah,
I'm actually okay with, as harsh as it's going to sound after what a good game, I'm okay with him missing for that tackle.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's definitely 3, so they're going to have to make changes.
And they host Hawthorn, and as we said in the pre-match, that every team they play in their run is a team desperate to play in September and in contention.
Well, today, Kel, we've had a side that's desperate to play and couldn't get over the line. I think that the major problems you see with Essendon is they seem to have this fantastic group.
I'll stop you there. We'll come back to the Bombers. Yeah. Let's get back to the winners' rooms. Adelaide by 2 points. Thrilling finish. Here is the man of the moment with Tim Hodges. Hodgie.
What a thrill it is, Corbin, to have Josh Rochelle on ABC Sport. Tell us, what's going through your mind right now?
Yeah, there's a lot of feelings and mixed emotions going through my mind right now. It was such a hard-fought game. I thought we had a great first half and then kind of got away from us that third quarter, but we had some special moments in the last quarter to Ben Keys and Darcy Fogarty, and it was great to get on the last one in the last 30 seconds.
Were you starting to lose hope in that last term?
I wouldn't say hope. We always had that little bit of belief, but it does cross your mind that the time's ticking, there's not long left. But as soon as Keezy and Fogg got those last couple of goals, the belief really grew.
Can you talk us through the goal? I mean, it's going to go down, your career is going to be awesome, but it will go down as one of the great moments of it.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's a pretty special moment for myself. You know, sometimes it's not always your day, but it's great to have those special moments and to have that moment and celebrate with the team. It was such a gutsy win from the boys.
And then to celebrate, is that your family that was over here?
Yeah, I've got my mum, dad, my brother, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend, so they made the trip down.
I just watched you after the song. Well, that's a pretty cool moment to have with them.
It's such a great moment because they ride all the highs and lows with me as well. So they're always there and they're always supporting me, but it's so special to share those happy moments.
And just before Corbin was throwing down to us, you were picking the tape off your legs. I mean, was it concerning with how much tape you had to carry coming into this game on your right knee?
Yeah, it was a bit sore. Last week I had a bit of an incident with one of the St Kilda's players kicking the ball off the ground and kind of hyperextended my knee a little bit. So it was a little bit sore this week, but I knew I'd have to soldier on and get the win for the boys.
What a legend, a legendary moment. Awesome to have Josh for a few minutes. I'll send you upstairs, Mick Malthouse and Cameron Ling.
Josh, it's Kelly Underwood here. I'm just going to jump in very quickly. With the celebration, were you thinking James Hird at all? Or?
No, not necessarily, but thinking now is a bit of James Hird. But for me, I just saw the first Adelaide Crows supporter in the crowd and ran straight to him.
And so who was that supporter, or what can you remember of that supporter? Do you know who they were?
I had no idea who that was. As I said, just looked up and a lot of Essendon players, and the first Crows supporter just sprinted right towards him.
Well done, Josh. Fantastic win, fantastic goal at the end. Tell us, the momentum swings in that game were remarkable for us watching it. When you're piling on the goals in the second quarter, why? How did you score so heavily?
We knew playing at Marvel, it's such a bit of a basketball game, pretty high scoring, and we knew we wanted to go in as a kind of contest game. We didn't want to go with that quick ball movement, so I feel like that really helped us the first half of the footy, and we went a little bit away from that in the third, but it was great to bring that back in the fourth and come away with the win.
So can I flip it round here? When Essendon were kicking all their goals, what was happening? What just went wrong for you guys there?
Yeah, I think we're just probably just losing at the source a little bit. Our forwards' pressure wasn't probably at the level, and they were rebounding quite quickly off half back. But as soon as we fixed those couple of things and we went more direct with the footy, we come away with a few goals.
Turn this on. Tell me about Ben Keys. We watch him play, and he stays on top of the ground all the time. He must be extremely fit. One, he knows he hasn't got a right foot, but you guys know he's got a left foot, and. In and out, not often in the centre square these days. More as a forward.
Yeah, Ben's he's a phenomenal character. To see where his career gone after being delisted from the Brisbane Lions, he's really turned his career around, and he's having such an amazing season, especially the last 3 to 4 weeks. He's probably been one of our best players. So to see him kind of get reward for all the effort, he's one of the hardest working players. At the Adelaide Crows, and whatever Nixie tells him to do, if that's at CB, if that's on a wing or a forward, he'll just play his role and excel at it.
Were you aware of the injuries that you had and the bench? I guess every time you went to the bench, you would have been probably seeing a few blokes sitting out on the back side of the bench, which means they're not coming back on. So was there any concern there about getting through the game, particularly as Lingy said to you, you sort of Essendon got a hold of you there for a while, and it looked like, well, this is going to be how far, and you had that great spark. But what about the injuries?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. We had a couple of our key defenders go down in Butsy and Nick Murray, so we were a bit shorter down back. We had to flick the magnets a little bit around. I think Dorse went down. I think he had a bit of a corky or something. So we had a few sore players going around, but that's footy at the end of the day, and you just got to grit through.
We noticed, Josh, you go up and give Nick Murray a hug. Was that because the news was as bad as we suspected, that he might have done that knee again?
I'm not too sure at the moment. He'll have to get a scan on it, but yeah, there was a bit of worry around that knee. But fingers crossed, it's not too bad.
Yeah, because just coming back to that, he actually went back on the ground and did a few run-throughs. So would that suggest that the medical staff are a little bit uncertain, and he's uncertain himself?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think fingers crossed it's not too bad. It's just like maybe a little bit of a little niggle, but we wish Nick all the best.
Yeah, well done on your game, mate. It was fantastic just to keep at them.
Josh Rochelle with us on ABC Sport. Josh, just big picture. Did you have anything at the bye, like a big come to Jesus moment or anything like that to get together and basically say, right, what are we going to get out of the back end of the year? Clearly it hasn't panned out the way that we wanted it to, but what are you hoping to achieve on the run home?
We did. We definitely had those hard conversations and looked on the positives as well, because we had some positives on the first half of the season, but from a latter perspective, we weren't where we wanted to be. So, we ticked a few things and fixed a little couple of things, but our main thing now was just going out with no fear and playing like we've got nothing to lose, which we don't. So I think that's given the boys a lot of belief and going in with that attacking mindset.
And just on yourself individually, you're in your third season, I think, Josh. You had the 23 goals from your 21 games last year, 20 goals coming in to this one tonight. So you're tracking along well. But you've got that soccer background, and I know that Tim Cahill at one point in time was sort of mentoring you. Do you have anything to do with him anymore, or that's sort of dried up now that you're an AFL boy?
No, so last year when I started whipping out the Tim Cahill celebration, he gave me a few little messages, and a bit of a follow on the Instagram was a bit of a flex, so it was good to show people that. But yeah, he's always pretty encouraging. He replies to my stories a couple of times, but he was great to me as a 14, 15-year-old and really give you that belief that you can make it and to have a role model in your life too.
And at this time of year when the Olympics are about to start, any regrets over picking Aussie rules?
Definitely not after tonight.
Yeah, it's a stupid question.
Totally understand that. Josh, good luck on the run home. Special teams, special plays, special players. You've certainly made one of those tonight. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Josh Rochelle in the Crows' rooms. It was the Crows by 2 points over the Bombers, 17-13, 1-15. Essendon, 17-11, 1-13. 7 lead changes. Adelaide, for the second time at Docklands this year. They've only played 2 games here, both occasions down by almost 3 goals, time on in the last quarter, kicked the last 3 to win. They did it against Carlton. They do it again tonight against the Bombers. The little incidents out of the game. So Dawson, concerns around concussion. He was involved in a heavy hit, stayed out there, which drew criticism from you at the time, Cameron Ling.
Sorry, can I just jump in?
Yep. Sure.
Not so much total criticism. It just, we need a mechanism in our game where you could see the Adelaide Crows doctors wanted to get to him, but there's 2 minutes to go, and it's down. Essendon's attacking, and he's playing as a half-back, so he stays there. I've got to defend. I would love someone, an emergency umpire, whatever it is, the Adelaide Crows bench can say, we need to look at him. We need a chance to take him off the ground without opening up a part of our ground. It's a concussion concern. Can the play stop for 30 seconds, almost blood rule type, and we can bring him from the ground? That's where I think we can add a layer to our game. Not to be abused, not to be used in the wrong way, just an ability to remove that player and get the head injury assessment they need.
Would it be easier if there was an independent AFL doctor that was making that call as opposed to a club doctor? Because
I think the club doctor wanted him off.
Yeah.
That was my fear.
But he's got no... He may want him off, Lingy. But what you're alluding to, what I've been alluding to all the time, it's got to be official.
Yep.
It's got to be... No, the game stops, you're off.
And it's dangerous, and I'm not trying to question the doctor's motives and everything else, but if you give a club official the power to stop the game, that is dangerous to say that the doctor can stand up and check someone at any time. Whereas if it's an independent doctor and you can say, hey, we saw it, that guy's buzzed, we need to get him off and check to see how he's going.
I agree. That's the way it's got to be, because what you don't want is a momentum swing because you've stopped the game and then you get accused for that. No, it's got to be an independent AFL official.
And I think that's what the game's worried about. So the game's worried about introducing a mechanism that gives clubs the power to stop the game.
Yeah, they should stop that. I mean, even if it's the emergency umpire that gets told by any bloke. Look, we've had that with who lost a game. North Melbourne lost a game to Sydney because of
that's right.
That was whatever.
That was interchange,
but it was still done by the emergency umpire. So we've got the mechanism in place, except for the medico.
just to clean up the rest of the night. So Butts, unfortunately, a left foot injury, and Nick Murray early in the piece subbed out of the game with a left knee injury. He did have that knee surgically repaired last year, same left knee early in the piece. He spoke to Channel 7 a short time ago. He told them the knee is feeling okay. There was more of a conservative approach to get subbed out, wanted to take no risks. He still has full extension of the knee and not much swelling, so hopefully not too much to worry about. But,
yeah. Well, that's why when they put him back on, I thought, this kid's probably running a little bit scared of what the consequences are, because these injuries are a 1 year physical and another year mental, because you only need a little tap on it and you go, oh, have I done it again? So I understand that.
The Bombers front, Jai Caldwell was driven to the ground in a heavy tackle from Ben Keys, which will be looked at by the MRO. Caldwell came off the ground, had the concussion test. We'll get an update from Hodgie in a few moments. And Matt Guelphy came off late in the piece as well. The Bombers are 6th on the premiership table. They could be out of the 8 by the end of the weekend. That's how significant it is for the Dons. Meanwhile, for Adelaide, they move to 7.5 wins.
So that's the talking point for the Bombers for me, is when they were in a position 9-10 points up with 4-ish minutes to go on the clock, the way they handled those scenarios and their lack of handling there, felt like the only option available to them at times was just long bombs, which was putting it back into a 50-50 situation. They didn't seem to have a well-rehearsed, well-understood plan to kill time off the clock and to just go. If they burn a minute and a half, 2 minutes off the clock through some really disciplined quality ball use, kick mark, whatever it might be, whatever they've trained up, then they're 9 points up with 2 minutes to go, and the game's probably over. I didn't see any of that from the Bombers.
Well, that's one thing, Lee. I suggest also that any stoppage work they should have a really close look at, because one of the things, and I talk through experience here, and I've got to go back a long time, right? So where the game's tied up at the big dance with 8 seconds left, the ball, we can't win this game. They can win this game for a quick kick out of the pack. Some of marks, they kick a point. This is St Kilda win the premiership. You've got to be able to lock up that stoppage, and you've got to have players in place to lock up that stoppage. Pendlebury, Ball, Swan, Thomas. Now they're old names, except Pendlebury's still playing. Get in a position where St Kilda's win the tap down, lock it up, draw, right? Essendon time and time again we've seen today, and we're very critical of Adelaide opening the back door. I reckon Essendon were almost in there. Here we go. We're running on top of the ground. They're not going at all. Let's get going. They were 4 to the ball when Adelaide took possession of that last one that went, the second last one that went into their forward line. And you go, you've got to lock that up.
Yeah, you don't need to keep piling the goals on. You need to make sure that
lock it out so they can't get back in the game.
It's the race to 13, and for the Bombers, they've got the half game, so the percentage won't matter. They need to get to 13.5. Now they're on the wrong side of it. So instead of needing to win 1 in every 2, they now need to win better than that. They need to win 3 of their last 5. The Bombers run home, Mick.
Yep.
St Kilda at Docklands
should win.
Fremantle at the G.
Well, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one that will test whether they. And I know this is a thing. Do they want to win it, or they hope to win it? And I say to my kids or my players, do you want to win it? Do you hope to win it? Hope is, you hope everything falls into place. When you want to win it, you'll just rip arms and legs and everything else off to get there.
Gold Coast, Docklands.
Should win. They don't. No, never win at home.
So that would get them. That would get them to 13.5. But here's the fine margins. Their last 2 games: Sydney, Brisbane in Brisbane.
No, loss.
So all of a sudden, the next 3 weeks are enormous if the Bombers want to salvage a finals appearance after such a hot start. They spent the last 9 weeks in the top 4. They're out of that. I'll come to you, Kel. Give me 1 minute. Tim Hodges is in the Bombers' rooms after Adelaide's 2-point victory. Hodgie.
Oh, gee, from the jubilation of the Crows' rooms, it's about a 100-metre walk, and then you walk in here, and there's not much fun to be had in the Bomber rooms. So all I can report is the players are still behind closed doors with Brad Scott. I've been told there is almost zero chance of them being out by 11 o'clock when we're off air. So unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to anyone. You can only imagine what's going on behind those closed doors with Brad Scott. So I guess the big news out of the Bombers will be Jai Caldwell, who was subbed out of the game. He had the HIA. obviously it's going to be a big story, the tackle itself from Ben Keys, but he might be missing next week if he fails that HIA. He was obviously subbed out because they were racing the clock at the end. So the other one was Mac Welfie, who came off the ground and went down to the rooms late in the game. He did return to the bench but didn't return to the field, so he'll be one to watch as well. So there's some issues for the Bombers, but that is 4 points they would have, certainly deep into that last quarter, they would have expected they were getting. And unfortunately, you only have to look around these rooms to realise that that is an opportunity lost for everyone in the black and red.
Thanks, Hodgie. Great job tonight downstairs. 2-point victory for Adelaide. 7 lead changes. Rochelle kicked the winner in the waning moments, and the Crows the last 3 of the game to win by 2 points.
They've left 2 sets of 4 points on the table. You're playing Melbourne at the MCG, and no Max Gawn out, and with no Petrarca. That's one they should have won if they want to be a top 4 team. Tonight's one they should have won. As good as Adelaide were, I don't want to take too much away from Adelaide, but if you're going to be a serious top 4 team, you've got to win those ones, and that's 2 games there that could...
No Rankin. Walker injured. They got 2 fit bodies on the bench at the end of the game. You've won your last 7 at home.
Yep.
If you're a serious footy team, you win that, don't you?
That's exactly right.
And the points scored in the end. Yep. 3 or 4, or 2 or 3 points that really weren't set up. They were blasted away. There was really opportunities perhaps to take better options. Essendon killed themselves tonight. And again, we're talking down Adelaide. We shouldn't. They were absolutely had great heart to come back from the injuries and also not to give in under any circumstances. They just looked like they were running through quicksand, and Essendon running on top of the ground. So technically speaking, it's still amazing to me how Adelaide got up and won the game. Yeah. But Essendon had the game. This is. I hope this is for Brad Scott's case. This is not another repeat of last year. Yeah. It'll be diabolic if it is, because he's done such a great job. There's some good young players coming through. There's older players had their moments, but they have 3 games behind Adelaide. Sorry, they're 3 games in front of Adelaide, and their percentage is worse off by 6. When you're in the 8 and your percentage is under 100 and you've won more games than you've lost, how have you won the games, and who have you beaten, and have you taken some hidings along the way? So, it's a rarity. If it's a few weeks ago, they were still in the top 4 with a percentage under 100.
They had won 3 games this year by under a goal and had 1 draw, so it's the first game they've lost in a close margin. So they've been on the right side of most of the others.
And will they be haunted with what happened last year? Lost 5 of their last 7, including their last 2 games to the Giants and also to Collingwood. Just having a look in the newspaper today, Corbin, it was saying that they can obviously still miss the 8, pressure mounting on Brad Scott's men, but just 2 wins in their last 5 games, and they'll finish 9th. More than likely.
These next 3 games are so important for Essendon. And we spoke to Dave Barham last week, and I don't expect him to say anything else as the president of Essendon, but I asked him about the burden of having this long drought without a finals victory. It feels real to me, to be honest, and you guys are the footballers and been involved in footy clubs, but he says all the time, that's just history, it doesn't belong to any of these guys. But ask the St Kilda guys about the pressure that they feel compared to other clubs. That you look in these moments and you look around, you think, is this place haunted? What is it about this place that we just cannot do it? And Lingy, you lived it.
We lived it. Yeah, absolutely. You could say it is history, but it's history that is present until you break it, until you stop it and say, no more. And it's funny that the first time we finally did it, and I don't mean to bring this up in front of me intentionally, but we played so tight and tense in that preliminary final of 07, and Collingwood very nearly snatched it off us. The freedom came next week, the following week, when we let it all just loose. But that tightness of, we should win. We'd been the best team all year. We had 9 All-Australians, all of this. You feel like, okay, we should win this. But you haven't won it yet, and you haven't done it. You haven't broken that history until you break it. And then you can play with some freedom after that.
And the side that's playing them knows it.
Yep.
Like you say that, Lingy. We were on our knees getting across. We played West Coast. We beat them in time on. I think it was 6-day break. Yeah. We lost our ruckman the night before. But in my mind, the talent from Geelong compared to us was extreme. All the Australians, this and stuff. But the burden they had, we didn't. And you just go, right, you've got to get under their skin by the scoreboard and make them start to feel as if something's happening that they can't control or we're getting too tense. So it works both ways.
Absolutely. And at a point in time, and this comes back to Essendon, you have to be the ones who have to break that history. You have to take that away, and you have to say, if not now, when?
Yeah.
When are we going to win that final? When are we going to basically shut everyone up and say they can't bring it up anymore? It's now gone because we did it and we did something about it. So that's Essendon's challenge. But right now, part of that challenge is even being there in September. They've just got to get their season rolling again. The next 3 weeks are huge because, as you read out, the final 2 games of the year are probably more than likely losses.
Full-time in the NRL tonight, Canberra 20, Warriors 18. So a 2-point victory for the Raiders over the Warriors. Full-time in NRL action tonight. Here at Docklands, we had a cracker. It was Adelaide by 2 points. They kicked the last 3 goals of the game. 7 lead changes in total. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year from Lingy in just a moment. Just repeating, the global IT outage that affected institutions in Australia and around the world today was traced back to the US-based cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. They released a statement saying they have identified, isolated and deployed a fix for an unprecedented outage that has affected computer systems worldwide. The company says a defect has been found in a single content update for Windows hosts. Other hosts are not impacted. The ABC will keep you abreast of the latest with a global IT outage over the course of the evening in ABC News Bulletins. We've got one in about 90 seconds. And for more information through abc.net.au. The votes, Lingy, to take us out.
Yeah, so one vote I'm going to give to Darcy Fogarty. I thought he was superb, willed them over the line along with someone else who I'll get to in a second. Kicks 4 goals and was just a presence in that forward line. Brilliant. Kicked 2 goals in the second, 2 goals in the last. Great game by Darcy Fogarty. 2 votes to Essendon's best player, not just in the game, but just in general. Zachy Merritt, 30 disposals, kicked a goal, had 8 clearances as well, 7 inside 50s. He was the driving force of that Essendon midfield that set them up into a position that we were just talking about where they should have won the game. But that leaves 3 votes to a superb game from Ben Keys. 5 goals and goal assists, and his work rate. He got the goal assist to Rochelle there for the winner. Time and time again, Mick, you said, it is Keys who is willing himself to contest. It is Keys who is still running, still working. He dragged them over the line, clearly best on ground.
You want to? There's the votes from Cameron Ling and the ABC Footballer of the Year. 3 for Keys, 2 for Merritt, 1 for Fogarty. You want to know how tight this season is? The live ladder late in the final quarter. The Bombers were second on the table. They concede the last couple of goals. As a result, they could be out of the 8 at the end of the round. So that just goes to show you the fine margins, and Josh Rochelle, the winner at the end. Thanks to you, Kelly Underwood.
Thanks, Corbin.
Thanks to Kel. Thanks to Mick Moldhouse. We'll hear from him tomorrow, 12 noon on AFL Saturday Eastern Time. Cameron Ling, same time slot on Sunday. Thanks to Stu Hollywood-Baker, to Ben Cameron, to Adam, the cult figure Jones, for his hard work back at base as well, and for everyone helping us get to air tonight despite all the drama. The Crows win a cracking game of footy by 2 points.
The most entertaining thing about sport.
All the stuff that goes on